Hello, everyone. It's time for the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my sidekick, Austin. Tonight, we're finally going to tackle Spider Man Homecoming, just the week after the fourth film in this franchise has come out, is in the theaters right now, and dominating the universe in lots of different ways, dating this commentary already, but an interesting time to go look at this movie when everybody is rushing out to the theater. Did almost $1 billion opening weekend worldwide to see Brand New Day, and I've reviewed that movie already, but Austin and I, while everybody rushing out to the theater, are going back to the beginning and watching Homecoming again.
Oh, we're watching Homecoming. That's awesome.
I'm late for school.
Yeah, I'm late for school, Doc. I mean, Iron Man, Stark.
You know that old movie, Spider-Man Homecoming?
That old movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I feel like a lot has changed since this movie, Austin. It is wild. Thinking this is already almost 10 years old, because we're doing this on the 9th anniversary of Spider-Man Homecoming. Like I said the other day, talking about Brand New Day, that movie did hit an anniversary because 2016 was the first movie Spider-Man was in the MCU, and so it kind of ends up being an anniversary movie in its way. Not to get
It came out the 10-year anniversary of Amazing Spider-Man 3.
that movie didn't come out.
I know, but that's when the date it was set for was.
That's when it would have. Yeah. It's the anniversary of that abandoned project, and instead we got Spider-Man in a Captain America movie. You can't write this stuff. Like, I always talk about how weird the timeline is now after the Venom trilogy and all of the other Sony movie villain movies and all the crazy DCEU stuff and all of that. There was already, even with good movies, some just kind of off the beaten path, roll a D20 stuff you never could have imagined. Like, we're going to introduce Spider-Man in a movie with Captain America in the title 2 years after the last Spider-Man movie, where we're going to reboot the whole thing already. Like, nobody could have predicted any of that.
Well, that's what's always made me laugh is Amazing happened and everyone was like, oh, that's way too soon after Spider-Man 3 to reboot. And then we rebooted so fast after Amazing, but nobody cared about the Amazing movies. So it was like, oh, okay, we're back.
Yeah, like, I complained, I talk about this all the time, but like I complained back when Amazing came out that I felt like it was maybe a little bit too early for a reboot. I did not really have that so much when we went to it from Amazing to this. Just because, if it's good, at least you want all the Marvel properties to get to be together. And like that's why I was so disappointed, even though I liked things about it with Fantastic Four, because I wanted that roped in, forever. And it just felt like something was really missing with the cosmic side, and even the street level side in not having FF in that universe. And same thing with Spider-Man. Like, it would really feel like something was missing if we never had it. Like, however you feel about these, however many missteps you feel like they've made, I think they've made some missteps. As I've always said, I like Spider-Man Homecoming a lot. I've got, a couple of issues with just the way the whole thing is conceptualized more than anything. But I've always called this my favorite of the live-action Spider-Man movies. We'll see if that holds after the viewing we're going to have tonight, but that's how I've always felt about it. And I feel like more of the missteps have come after that with the rest of the franchise. But it really does feel like something's missing if you don't have Spider-Man here, just like with the Fantastic Four. Obviously, they're bringing different things. And a lot of it is without Spider-Man, especially the way MCU did it with the more modern takes on these characters. If you don't have Spider-Man, you don't have a teenager. Like, you could eventually get to one if you did, like, Miss Marvel and stuff like that, like they did, but like for where they were with several years, I mean almost a decade before we get to Spider-Man, you don't have a teenager, and you don't really have anybody outside of the Netflix shows with a secret identity.
Yeah, I know, because all that stuff's weird. But that we did all the Avengers.
That's one of the biggest aspects that I felt like Spider-Man brought to it. You know, besides the
Mhm.
obvious, besides just, you know, the love of that character and how important it is to Marvel and all of the villains it brings and all of that. But just as far as like classic superhero elements, it's funny how the MCU became I like you know obviously synonymous with the superhero formula, and people felt like even at that point some people felt like certain parts of it were getting stale and that it was kind of formulaic, and yet there's these major classic superhero tropes that weren't there, that that we went against, you know, in the first place with Iron Man. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, very true.
like
And
it's a
then
big deal
obviously,
when he tells everyone he's Iron Man at the end of that movie, because with all the other superhero movies we'd had before that, that's the last thing you would expect to happen.
mhm.
So,
No, exactly.
subverts those expectations, and then we sort of subvert them again by coming back and actually having a character with a secret identity, and then of course the second movie has to blow that up very
And then the third one
quickly.
has to rebuild it back.
It has to fix it,
Yep.
and that's the arc of Spider-Man in this universe.
And now he's back
But one
in the
thing
theater, in a theater near you.
But tell me if you have this. One thing that's impressive about this movie is, even though a lot of some of what I loved about it first time out was I just where my imagination was taking me and where we could go with the character. With like, this is a really great starting place, and then a lot of what I wanted to see happen after that we've never gotten to, or we're only finally just now getting to, and it's not a Force Awakens situation. It doesn't ruin this movie.
Because it's not mystery boxy. No, so I was thinking about this earlier today. I mean, we'll get into it
And
in
it's
the
also
movie,
not
but
retready the way Force Awakens was. So it
we're
wasn't
setting the
just
foundations for things that
yeah.
you want to expand on that we then don't really. I've never really compared these, but watching it again today, uh, I do feel like for me this is Spider-Man's X-Men First Class, where I'm like, oh, they hit me with something that I really like. And yes, you can look at it and go, okay, here's weird changes that we have that are seemingly arbitrary, and it's like, yeah, very, very true. But I just really like this movie, and they never recapture it. Um, so I'm like, I've never really thought to compare them, but they are similar, and they're now both at 4 movies.
That's really interesting. And obviously Spider-Man's fared better than X-Men ultimately did.
Yeah, no, I would definitely say so.
Even though
Because
I
even No Way Home, I really don't like. I would watch No Way Home over Apocalypse.
and Dark Phoenix all day long.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I love Days of Future Past. I know I like that movie more than you do, but then it all goes downhill from there.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for joining us live if you're doing that, and thanks also for watching after the fact. We're going to go ahead and get into the movie here pretty soon, so make sure to get your DVD, Blu-ray, however you're going to watch the movie. Disney Plus, of course, is where this is streaming, to timestamp 0, and get ready to press play when I say now. Real quick before we get started, the other thing I was going to compare this to, the First Class comparison is great. I didn't think of that either. I have always called this the perfect companion piece to the first Iron Man, and I think some of that is real intentional, of course. But like structurally, there's a lot of kind of interesting comparisons you can make with it, and it feels like it's timed to be for a generation. Not that it's not also for, you know, older folks as well, but like it feels like it's timed for a generation of kids that grew up with MCU, and it's like a like second generation starting for the MCU.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and I've never really thought about this as that spiritual successor to Iron Man, like you've always said. So I'm interested to hear kind of more about that.
Sure, yeah. It just I've always been preoccupied by that. It hit me in the theater, and like I said, I think some of it is pretty intentional, particularly with how the movie ends. But we'll get there as we get
Yeah,
into it. Uh Leo, you guys had to bring up Amazing Spider-Man 3 and hurt my feelings that we got no more Andrew Garfield movies. I was only in like I'm not gonna fight with folks about this. Obviously, there's big Andrew Garfield fans. I like him well enough. He's not like quote unquote my Spider-Man. He's not what I think of when I think of Spider-Man. Uh, but I know Austin doesn't. I like Amazing okay, but I also, in particularly just the way the initial origin is handled in that movie. But I also get Austin and a lot of people's complaints about just the way he's characterized and like I can see the argument for the casting is not quite right. But some of it also is just I mean there are like with a lot of popular superheroes that have been around for decades, like kind of different versions of it, and he's closer to an Ultimate than he is to the classic Stan Lee Spider-Man, but he's still uh even a little bit too uh like hipster over even Ultimate Spider-Man, which was kind of always my issue with it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I don't need to hash it out, but Amazing One's like unsalvageable already for me.
But the reason I was disappointed we didn't get Amazing 3 is yeah, I didn't think that the whole thing was unsalvageable personally, but I also just just think it kind of sucks to not resolve the chord. Like even if Amazing 2 is pretty bad, I didn't hate it on the level that a lot of people did, but it is weird you're building that hard to a Sinister Six and you never get there. And like even if it was a train wreck, I would have liked to have seen the train wreck. It would have been nice if we could have rebooted after they finished that. It's just weird to have a unfinished trilogy.
Ah, they made 6 more movies in the same quality right after we rebooted, so it's okay.
That is true. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Yeah, that's a good point. Amazing 2 could be considered the predecessor for the entire Sony villain franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Everybody, I hope you're at timestamp 0. Get ready to press play when I say now, and I'm just about to do it. If there's any aspect of the movie you want to make sure that we talk about, as always, you can leave a super chat, and we will guarantee that we'll answer it, but we'll try to interact with you regularly in the comments as well. And quick plug for Patreon, patreon.com/geekvolution. At the $5 tier, you can leave your own mini review that we'll read at the end of the movie, and you'll have a couple of hours now to do that if you haven't done it already. On the $10 tier, you can become a Rewind producer, and you can also do a mini review with a $5 super chat. Let's do it. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
Something I love about the way this and Far From Home is structured, and I don't think this is actually intentional. I just found it funny. I love that they both open with the Sony logo, and then boom, establish your villains. Marvel logo, establish Peter Parker. That always makes me laugh.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
We dropped that after the first 2, but the first 2 both have it.
I think it's interesting that the very first thing you get is. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got it. I've got to start over. Give me a second.
Oh, no worries.
Apologies. We're gonna have to start back at the start.
No, mine like hesitated for a second, but I was like, it's fine. No worries.
Yeah.
So I was off anyways.
Give me just a second. Mine, for whatever reason, started like a chapter late because I didn't get the Marvel logo.
Oh, you don't? You get like that whole opening with Vulture before you get the Marvel logo.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. It's funny because I watched this today, but I couldn't remember. When you were talking,
well, that's what I was saying. It
threw me off. I was like, wait, I'm not seeing what you're talking about. And I thought it was supposed to be up at the front, but it's not. I'm sorry. I should not have started over.
That's okay. Sorry, I threw you off, but
we're off to a great
you get
start.
like all the setup with Vulture, and then you get the Marvel logo.
No, and I knew that because it's because you get the theme, like their theme, and over the Sony logo, and then you sort of get a cold open. And honestly, I think it could have just been a cold open, but that's okay. Anyway, we're totally starting now. Everybody, please press play right now. I'll try not to screw it up this time.
Then you can't have what I have, where you get the Sony logo, and then here's our villain, Marvel logo, here's our hero.
Yeah, I missed some of what you were saying. I got
all good.
Off. Anyway,
all good.
I do think it's kind of interesting that so I'll make the point that I started to because I'm actually right about it, that you get the new theme and the score for Spider-Man, and then when we do the big logo after the Vulture stuff at the start, you get the classic cartoon Spider-Man um song.
Which I wish they kept doing.
I do
It's a
too.
shame that it's a shame they only did it in this one.
Yeah, and in a couple of the movies, they'll hint back at that. You'll get a little bit of the da 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 da. But it's funny, we advertise it on it more than we put it in the movies. It'll show up in
Yeah.
trailers, but we just
And
don't
it
put it in the
sounds really
movies.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, no,
No,
it really works.
it's a shame.
Orchestrated. It's neat.
I remember because they released that before the movie, and when I heard it, I was like, "Oh man, this is the Spider-Man like main theme for this movie. That's amazing." And then it's not really, but I like the score in this well enough.
Yeah, and I like their theme for Spider-Man. It has been pretty
Yeah,
versatile enough, and like we're 4 movies in, they're still using it, and they did kind of a somber piano version of it in this last movie, and I thought that sounded pretty good. Like it's a pretty versatile theme.
yeah, yeah. And I like it's not like too big, but it can be a little bouncy, and then like you said, you can do like a more somber version of it.
Yeah, you can hear like it's kind of both jovial and melancholy in its way all at the same time, which is just Spider-Man. So like that really works for it. Like what Elfman did was a little bit more uh epic, and it still
Yeah,
works for the character, but it's appropriate for the different versions they're doing because and of the worlds, because this one wants to be a lot more street level at the start.
yeah. No, so I this is maybe the best theater going experience I've ever had. I was seeing this movie the first time.
Oh wow.
So I went with my dad, and it was like a pretty big deal because like I grew up watching the '60s cartoon with him, and it look for both of us really felt like, oh, we're kind of finally getting Spider-Man on the big screen. Like, obviously. That's not being like throw away everything that came before. Like I do like the Raimi movies, but like it felt like they got it in a way that we'd never really gotten before. And I mean, the perfect Spider-Man movie is somewhere between this and the first two Raimi movies.
Yeah, I agree.
So like, you definitely can't take away some of that. Like, there are choices that you just have to deal with in this. But at the same time, I felt like it was the closest we'd ever gotten up
And
to that point, and I still have that coming back to it.
and it's impressive that it's not less compromised than it is given the unlikely nature of the pairing you get between MCU and Sony. Like it's kind of amazing this even happened and was good at all.
Yeah. Oh, so I'll get into this now then. So this movie has 6 writers, and the first 2 writers attached were Sony writers, and then they bring in another pair, and then it's the director and like another writer that he works with. And I've always felt like Sony hired the writers to do this, and they were the guys that did like the Vacation reboot. Because when they were announced, I was like, "Oh my god, this movie's going to be the worst thing ever." And then they bring in the writers who will then pen the rest of these. So I feel like they kind of came in, brought them in to fix it, and then we brought in, when we brought in the director, he then came in and did another pass. So I've always felt like you have that kind of like, here's the Sony, Marvel, and then just the director. Like it kind of passed around between both. And I actually feel like this is a movie where um, that kind of just like turmoil behind the scenes and like hyper focusing on like doing it over and over kind of helped it.
Which is
Where, like,
really
I feel like,
unusual.
which is
But
very
it's like
unusual,
they
but
finally found it.
that's kind of how I've always felt. Yeah, is they like really went over it and over it and over it, and it kind of just ended up the best it probably could have been with what we have.
Yeah, I think what's perfect about it is the characterization for Peter in the first place, going casting this young, going back to high school, having at least one movie that's entirely there. I would have liked to have done a whole trilogy there. I feel like that was kind of initially the plan, and then that sort of fell apart when it got in some ways too ambitious and in some ways not ambitious enough. The going street level and making it not in a take over the world or in the world plot is part of what makes it feel like the early Spider-Man comics, and having a villain that is as sympathetic as Michael Keaton's Toomes, and is uh, weirdly the perfect foil for Uncle Ben that you get with a lot of the best villains in early Stan Lee, even though there is no Uncle Ben. And so he, in that way, he ends up being both a really good foil for Peter Parker, just in like he's trying to be like responsible with his power. Of course, that's what Spider-Man's all about, and is learning more about that in this movie. He's not all the way there yet, so it's not an origin, but in some ways it feels like the rest of the origin, if that makes any sense. But he's really a foil for Iron Man, and some people have complained that all of the villains in these movies are kind of Iron Man villains before they're Spider-Man villains, even if they were comic Spider-Man villains. But that aspect of it works here, and I'm glad that it doesn't turn into just a big showdown between Vulture and Iron Man, and that Iron Man's not too involved in the big takedown for him at the end, because Iron Man is the mentor for Peter in this, and has had to learn all the things that he's trying to teach Peter. And Toomes is kind of, in some ways, the anti-Iron Man. And I don't want to say he's like where Iron Man is, where when he starts and then he never learns what Iron Man learns, he never finds his heart. He's a guy that starts with the heart and has gotten the raw deal and has the capability of getting to where Tony Stark is in his ability and in his and wealth and everything, and just he could never get there because the world has given him a raw deal. And so he's kind of Tony Stark's opposite in a lot of ways.
Well, that's also how he's Peter. Is that Peter is the kid that is given an opportunity, and obviously he's going to blow it, but like he has what Adrian lost at the beginning of the movie as well.
Yeah. And some of that is just luck of the draw, which is why I think the movie kind of ends perfectly with his deciding not to. I'm getting ahead of myself, but in his deciding not to join the Avengers and do what and take what Tony is giving him, because that's not just about he's learned he's not there yet. He's been too big for his britches, and he's trying to grow up before he's ready, and he's making it about all the wrong things, making it too much about himself than over being selfless and helping people. It's also Adrian Toomes is very right about Tony Stark and the bureaucracy and how he got screwed, and the government like making a mess and then paying themselves to clean it up and all of that, and like Tony Stark being in league with all of that. So part of the reason Peter doesn't join him at the end is for the same reason that the villain hates Tony Stark, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. We just passed
because he doesn't want to be corrupted by the kind of power that Tony is offering him. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We just passed it. That Civil War stuff's fun. It does not line up with that airport battle, but it is funny. Just here.
But that's okay. If you haven't seen it in a while, it sort of feels like it does. Like
it's like when you read a comic that references something that happened in the last issue, but it's like slightly off, like the dialogue's changed.
Mm-hmm. Would you? Are we considering that retconning, or just sort of forgetting how it worked, or just?
No, it's just we're doing little raindrop moments, and there's kind of no way you can fit that in organically. So it's like, this is what it is.
Part of the reason this feels like a companion piece for Iron Man to me is this opening stuff with Happy and Tony, and kind of checking in with where Tony is right now with the Avengers and all of that. Like, he's had this whole history from then to now, and then you're seeing the even though he's already a superhero, you're seeing this kind of the important beginning anyway of this new superhero that he is mentoring, and like Happy is chauffeuring him around at the beginning, and so from the start that got my brain going. I wonder how parallel-y this is going to be with the first Iron Man, and then I just kept finding it all the way through.
Yeah, and we will take this relationship way too far after this, but I think it works fine here.
I do
I
too.
like that. I like that Tony's very like hands off. Like it's very like, you go do your thing. I don't really care. Whereas after this, we will then pretend like they were like the greatest friends to ever happen. But like I think it works better here. Like Tony will like check in and be like, I vaguely know things, but I'm not going to talk to you. Like I'm not going out of my way to like have a relationship.
Yeah, I think with respect to people that don't like how involved Iron Man is in this, because that's fair if it's just not your preference and you feel like the MCU stuff gets too in the way of Spider-Man. And the people that felt that way certainly were a little vindicated after this. You know, that
Yeah,
were
it
worried
gets
it was going
way
to
worse
keep
after
going that
this.
way. Okay, that's fair.
We're gonna like keep going into it.
I can't argue with
What we
that.
do after this completely undermines the ending of this movie too.
Yeah, well,
It's
particularly with
yeah.
Avengers when he'll put that suit on.
Well, and you'll keep it for the next two as
Mm-hmm.
well. Exactly.
No, absolutely. But I the reason some of the reason I liked it in the first place and was okay with it is superficial, Austin. It's it's more believable that he has the suit he has. Because I know I've always been on about that with the Raimi movies.
Well, what I
And
like about here
yeah,
is I feel like the Avengers just took the FF's place.
yes,
We're like
that's what I was going to say.
that's kind of what I've always had with at least this movie, where you have like that early Spider-Man story where he's trying to join the FF. Like it feels like it just kind of took that spot.
I had that too, and I felt like, and I feel like there were a lot of fans. And again, this is not unfair that grew up with the Raimi movies, and that's their Spider-Man, and probably haven't actually read a lot of early Spider-Man comics, and don't realize just how like integrated the other superheroes in the Marvel Universe stuff was with early Spider-Man. And so like Raimi can't do that stuff because he just doesn't have the rights to it, but he would have if he could have. He would have at least done some
Yeah,
of
for
it.
sure.
And so obviously you got to find a balance. It can take over way too much.
Yeah.
I but I do like the balance that we find with this. I
This is the cutesy. This is the third reboot bit. It's Web Fluid version
3.0.
3.01. It's the first movie of the third reboot. Yeah.
That's great. I didn't think of that. Well, and there are of course nods to the fact that we've done Spider-Man before and he's finally quote unquote come home, which is why it's Homecoming. And I'm honestly a little surprised that Sony went along with that title. Because
Yeah.
that's always seemed a little bit contradictory and anachronistic to me with their attitude about this character. Like it's always been Sony Spider-Man. Like it's the biggest franchise
That
they
was so much
have.
part of like the marketing. Like this is like he's finally coming back to the Marvel universe. Like Sony definitely wanted that, which is why they have the deal of like you have to have Marvel things in your Spider-Man movies too. It's like I think it makes sense for them, like from a marketing perspective, and
It
especially knowing that people didn't like the last franchise.
it does and it doesn't though. I mean, like it feels almost too mature to me of them to own that as much as it feels like they're owning it. I was always surprised they went along with it because it looks to an audience that doesn't realize what the deal is between Sony and Marvel, like Marvel got it back from them. And like even though Sony's name is at the beginning, and those of us paying attention and in the know realize that Sony has like final creative approval on everything and it still is very much their franchise. Just calling it that and making a big deal out of all the MCU stuff really makes it sound almost like a middle finger to Sony. And I was always kind of surprised that they went along with that title.
I mean, they also do get an out publicly, in that the movie does take place around a homecoming dance, so they do get like a level of out. Like, it's not about that. You're reading too much into it. So
Yeah.
like, there is kind of having your cake and eating it too, to some degree.
Well, and they want it to be a double
Possible
entendre title.
viability.
They want it to be a double entendre title, but it's really only like a 1.5 entendre title. Because the homecoming part of it doesn't do a lot for the movie thematically, as far as like the dance at the end and all of that. That word, besides the meta part of it, with Sony, with Spider-Man going back to Marvel, doesn't thematically do a lot in the
Mhm.
movie. Like I
So
was thinking
I
about this. What is a homecoming dance about? Why is it called homecoming? And I don't know if you're aware of this because I never got this when I was growing up and when I was in high school. But the reason the homecoming dance at high school is called that is because it's when all of the alumni are supposed to come back and
oh,
like be at a football game. That's why it's called homecoming. It's all the people that used to go to school there who come back. That was way over my head. I never realized that. I didn't notice
no, I
alumni
never
coming
had
back to
that.
my school with that. And so it doesn't really have a lot to do with what's happening in this movie.
I was a loser. I didn't go to dances.
Well, but I didn't go to football games either. But like that's the homecoming
No.
was about the dance in the football game. But like I can I can stretch and try to come up with the character ways that like the character is quote unquote coming home. Like he needs to stay grounded, he needs to stay down to earth, and like he never exactly leaves home, but he tries to. Like I can't quite get there with it thematically.
Yeah. Uh, this was the big moment in the movie theater where I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm in for something wonderful." Uh, there's just kind of like so many of these feel like Stan Lee bits. Like they're not all exactly that, but like there's things where I can be like, "Oh, like this moment, like the bit with the car thief feels very much like there's an issue where there's some kind of hooligans walking around and Spider-Man tries to stop them too early, so they're like." You're just antagonizing us for no reason, and things like that, or like, the bit where Spider-Man has the check that's made out to Spider-Man, and he tries to cash it, and they're like, you can't prove anything. Like, this isn't a name. You have no ID proving this. That feels very much in line with the kind of humor we're doing through this montage. And I've always associated the Ramones with Spider-Man, so like
Oh,
also getting that was great.
I like to do a flip guy. I never noticed that he comes back on the boat.
Does he?
Yeah,
I
that
think it's
same.
a, I think it's a different guy.
No, it's not. It's that
That
beard
guy.
guy. I'm pretty sure it's the same
Okay.
guy.
The do a flip guy comes back in Shang-Chi for some
Oh,
reason.
weird.
Uh,
I'm
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. We'll watch
I think
for it
it's a
when we
different
get
guy.
there.
We'll watch for it when we get there. I love the Stan Lee cameo. It's really fun,
I like that he gets to say more than the one line. It's kind of cool that they cut back to him just to make
and
it
he like
feel.
just played on a running joke, like a joke that was in like the last scene with the sandwich guy, where he's like, say hi to your aunt for me, no, say hi to your daughter for me, and then Stanley has a riff on that bit too. That's fun.
Yeah, it all feels like world building, and like this is a real living and breathing city. The bodega
Yeah,
does a lot for that too. I really like
and
the
this.
bit in the sandwich shop when the sandwich shop owner says, go to school, be careful, or you'll grow up like me. And he looks around and just goes, "What? This is great." Uh,
Yeah.
that's a nice moment.
This movie should be called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man because I think out of all the other Spider-Man movies, this most feels like that.
Yeah, and
Which is
Raimi's
why I'm
got his
fine with him not
moments
really.
with it,
Yeah, which is why I'm
certainly.
also fine with him not swinging through skyscrapers through this because we're very much in Queens throughout this movie, and we'll go to Washington and do stuff like that, but we're more so just in Queens in this movie.
Well, and that's the thing in behind the scenes that Watts and some of the producers talk about that they like very intentionally kept him away from really high buildings because they wanted it to be literally more street level, and they felt like the higher up he goes, the more kind of above everybody he feels. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's going too far to say that.
No,
And that.
I think so too, and it's a good place to build to because you know you're going to get more.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll get there eventually. Well, and also I like it thematically because it's like you're not there yet. And like he's trying to rise higher before he's ready to, and for all the wrong
Yes,
reasons. And uh
exactly.
so like he's got a suit that could finally get him there, but like his heart's in a better place than maybe it was before Civil War. We don't know enough. But like it's not quite there yet, and his skills are not quite there yet.
No, exactly. And I mean, look at what we're looking at, Cap. He's actually bantering with criminals.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well,
This was also used for a lot of clickbait.
I was gonna say, to a point you made a minute ago. I appreciate, like, when you're talking about the car thief. I appreciate the ways that he's flawed versus the ways that, like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was flawed. Because this one comes a lot more from that classic, uh, like, overconfidence. And that's where the kind of, like, early a-hole Peter Parker comes from, where, like, he's too confident, partly because he's got these superpowers. And I feel like the Maguire version, it comes too often from anxiety and insecurity.
Yeah.
And this one
No,
can
good
be
call.
anxious, certainly, but a lot of the mistakes he makes, especially in costume, is because he's too sure of himself.
Yeah, this doesn't really have like the assholey side of Lee Ditko's Spider-Man, but at the same time, I do think that this does a good job of kind of updating Stan Lee Spider-Man just as a whole into almost like a new Ultimate. Like this is just how you would do it now.
I do think there's glimpses of a-hole Spider-Man
Yeah.
in this movie, but
I just mean not to that degree.
No, I know.
But he's definitely aloof.
I'm not arguing with you, but I'm just saying, that, like, they're really careful not to push it that far so that we still sympathize with him. But I feel like the places that it is cribbing the most from that is the way he deals with Liz.
Yeah.
Like, that feels like the way early Peter Parker handled girls.
100%. All of that and like how the Vulture relates to that to her. Obviously, it's not taken specifically from Vulture and Liz, but like that feels very Stan Lee.
It's so class. That moment where you open the door and it's Michael Keaton absolutely feels like a thing he would do right at the end of an issue.
And I saw this 4 times in the theater, and you could hear a pin drop every single time.
It's awesome, and the way the sound drops out of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Let me start hitting some super chats because we have quite a few, and I don't want to get too behind on that. Dan Schneider, thank you guys so much for the support. $2 super chat. I need to see Austin talk about Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, we'll get there.
It'll happen one day.
Eventually.
I've heard a few people say that. And then
I think people are surprised by just how much you don't like that first movie.
Yeah, and it's really built over time. Like I didn't have it as hard, and then like the last time, like when No Way Home came out, I couldn't even get through it. I was like, "This is, yeah."
I don't have super strong feelings about it. Like, I like it more than you do, and there are those couple things with, like I said, the origin and how he's characterized that I really appreciate and loved in the theater. But like, I can take or leave most of that movie, and
that's fair. You don't have
there's
to
plotting stuff that is so frustrating in that, where like it is easily the most like contrived Spider-Man movie. Maybe the second one is the most convoluted, but Amazing One is the most like built on a series of what am I trying to say? Coincidences.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Contrivances. Manitube, $20 Mexican pesos. Thanks very much. Cap be like Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the 49th best superhero movie. I did not put it on even my top 100. No. It was in my bottom 50, I think.
It was in the audiences. I think it was the 49th for the audience.
No, the audience put it even higher, I thought. That's what was so crazy about it. I thought the audience had it like somewhere in the 30s or something. I could be wrong, but that's what I was remembering.
Yeah.
DFXC Eric, $2 Canadian. I don't think any film version got him right. Hot take.
Fair.
But fair. Well, and somebody else I saw in... sorry for not quoting the person directly, but somebody else was like, well, Austin can't watch the Spider-Verse movie, so he's not seen the the like perfect Spider-Man movie. But like my problem with that is I think those are really well written, but like they're not Peter Parker movies. So like
Yeah, I'm so classic. Like, I don't even like 2099. Like, generally, like, whenever people say that to me, I'm like, that's cool. I guarantee I wouldn't have that even if I could watch them. Like, I don't even really have. I don't sit around and I'm like, oh man, it sucks I can't watch Spider Verse. Like, I don't really have any interest.
yeah.
Like, I'm sure they're good, but like, I don't. I also don't really like the Lego Movie, and it's like they do a lot of the similar kind of like meme humor with some of the stuff I've seen from it, and I don't really care for that. But it's whatever.
Well, we'll try to keep it on this as much as we can. Senior Sticks, $2 super
Exactly.
chat. Austin, are you Venom or Carnage?
I'm Cletus Cassidy Venom.
That's the perfect answer. That was awesome. Second, Ned is magic. He's really on about Ned having some kind of magic powers because of what we learned in No Way Home. He brought that up
No
on
Way
Monday. I
Home.
think it was him on Monday when we reviewed Brand New Day. Also, yes, Senior Sticks. Thanks for constantly reminding me that for some reason Ned can do the portal thing, and
Well,
we'll
they
probably
planned it.
never
They
do
knew he
anything
was
with that.
magic in this movie.
Say again.
So they planned it. They knew he was magic in this movie.
Obviously, yes.
They also knew with this movie that they were doing a trilogy origin. That was not something that was decided in the third movie, Cap. They 100% knew that here.
Sure.
And even though Peter Parker just said, "You can't tell Aunt May who about me being Spider-Man after everything she's been through," they also know that Uncle Ben doesn't exist in this movie.
I think one of the funniest lines in the movie is when the coach says Captain America is probably a war criminal. That's so funny.
Oh, it's great. So I gotta say, I have a theory with this movie. So one of the directors they were looking at was Jared Hess, and throughout like all of this movie coming out, they were like, "We're doing John Hughes' Spider-Man," and there's like a couple token things where I'm like, "Oh, this is from Ferris Bueller," but like that's about it. A lot of the awkward teen comedy stuff feels right out of Napoleon Dynamite, and I'm convinced
Oh.
that they wrote it thinking that he was going to direct it, and then they went with a different director because a lot of that stuff drops after this movie. Like there's a little
Yeah.
bit of it in two,
There's a little bit
and
in
then it's
Far From Home.
completely exactly. There's a little bit of it in Far From Home, but there's a lot of it in this one, and there's none of it in No Way Home
Now you could
or
argue
Brand
that
New Day.
yeah, but you could argue that once you get past high school, it makes sense to kind of change the tone of it and not do as much of that.
But we're still in high school by No Way Home. Like Brand New Day, I 100% I agree.
Well,
But
yeah,
like
but
we're still there.
we don't go to the high school that much and do high school stuff in it, though. Is the thing like
True, but there's
it's not
just
a
a
much.
different voice though. Like even with these characters,
I agree with that.
I could be wrong, but like they have done that before, where they're like, okay, we're gonna get this director, we're gonna write it kind of similar to things that they do, and I feel like there's a little bit of that here,
Well, and if
except they went with someone
retroactively
else.
they've decided, like you suggested, that it's kind of a three movie origin, then yeah, you'd think you'd hang on to more of the same tone throughout it.
Yeah, and also like half of Napoleon Dynamite's like building up to the dance that we then don't spend much time on, which is also what we do here.
Okay,
Like
I've never seen
there's a
that.
couple of parallels. Yeah, there's a couple of parallels that I think are a little bit deeper than the John Hughes connections that they always said.
What's impressive about the drama and the comedy in the high school stuff in this is that it's awkward and it doesn't make me hate any of the characters. Like it feels believably awkward and charmingly
Yeah,
much of the time awkward. And it's relatable and it resonates with me because in some ways it absolutely makes like reminds me of what being in high school was like. And especially a lot of the exchanges with like boys and girls that kind of like each other and don't know how to talk about that. I like really resonate. And then the thing, and this is going to sound so minor, but the thing that felt most real to me, and it's a comedic thing, with the high school stuff is just the the journalism videos with Betty. Like just how awkward they are and how like poorly edited they are, and, like backgrounds that are bad chroma keyed, and I remember that in high school. It was like that where you're trying to make it professional, but you don't really know how to do that, and just all the awkward like glances from the host that like don't really gel. And
Yeah, the greatest bit of teenager dialogue in this is the line Ned just had, where he's like, "If anyone has, you're an Avenger. If anyone has a chance with a senior girl, it's you."
yes,
That is 100% teenage logic.
yeah, I think his second most believable and maybe best line is when he says, "I don't know how jobs work."
Sure.
I like that a lot. I where he's like,
And then Peter
you go
doubles
do this
down
thing
on
and get
it.
a gold coin, and then that's exactly how jobs work. I don't know, like I guess the way I would describe this versus some of the complaints I've had about high school dramas with other things in the past, like Smallville. And like that show doesn't always get it wrong, but it gets it wrong a lot. Is these characters are I appropriately immature, but not inappropriately unreasonable.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way I can put it, is that they're putting their best foot forward and trying to be as grown up as they can be, and they just let their youth get the better of them sometimes. And there's these moments where you can see in their eyes they know they're making the worst possible choice, and they're kids and they're pushing boundaries and they're just going to do it anyway. So like the best example of that is when Ned just blurts out Peter knows Spider-Man. Like the look in his on his face is perfect, where he's like, I almost like something possessed him, and he just threw it out there, and almost like he doesn't even think that he's responsible for it. Like he knows he's responsible for it, but it's like, I'm gonna do this stupid thing that I know I shouldn't do.
he just blurted it out. Yeah.
That's very teenager.
Yeah, definitely. No, and some of like the weird, awkward moments that to me feel very Napoleon Dynamite that don't come out, like don't come into it really after this, are stuff like whenever we're on the science team, we tend to have jokes like that. But the big one for me that I always go back to is when Ned's hiding and he looks at the kids playing chess, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Or "Hey, how's it going?" And the other kid just goes, "Chess."
Yes.
And it's so weird and awkward, and it's like right out of that movie.
I showed
It's
this to
beautiful.
Freddie
I love it.
today, my 11-year-old, and I don't know if you know this. Freddie's a chess player, and like a really good chess player, and he was excited about that bit. He was like, "Dad, why do they have chess pieces in the window?" And I'm like, "Oh, because that's chess club." And then when that kid turned around and goes, "Chess," Freddie just cracked up. He thought that was great.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
so
I also really like the world building in this. Sorry, did you have something
no,
else
go
you
ahead.
wanted to
That's where I
say?
was gonna go. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, and it's a place where we never really came back to it. But like, this movie is so peppered with just different Spider-Man characters to build on that we never really did. Um, but also, like, I don't. I think it's cool that we took both the traditional Shocker and we also did the spectacular Shocker at the same time. Now we can't do the enforcers because we already killed Montana, but I don't know. It's kind of cool.
And you'd want to do them early anyway. Like if you're not gonna do the enforcers in the first
Yeah,
movie, I don't know what the point is of doing them. But
sure.
I think this one does a pretty good job of getting away with non-costume supervillains and it not being lame.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, like, given this gang that the Vulture has put together, and also it helps that Vulture does have a suit and it's really good. But like he's got all these classic Spider-Man villains that are henchmen, and it
yeah,
wouldn't make a lot of sense with what he's planning and how off the radar he's trying to be for them to all go out and be real flashy. I
yeah,
and so, in sort of like a Netflix Daredevil way, it's really getting away with less costume stuff because it's just believable for the story they're telling, and it doesn't come off pretentious and like we're above that stuff. Because you have a lot of costume stuff in this movie. It just doesn't make sense for these guys to have full on costumes. But also, the most frustrating thing about it is you would expect them to later. And like in the
yeah.
new one, Scorpion finally dies. And that's more the kind of stuff that you
Yeah.
thought they do by the second movie.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
and I
for
know you don't
sure.
like his costume. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I'm just saying they finally give him
Yeah.
one. You thought by the second movie they would do that.
Yeah. This is obviously the big Ferris Bueller moment, which we then immediately show. But no, very true. And Montana's just wearing a Shocker costume. He just doesn't have the mask.
Well, he's got a jacket that's got the yellow with the crisscrosses, but none of the
He's
rest
got
of
the
it's really
brown.
a. What's that?
He's got like the brown vest.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He's basically got it. Just he doesn't have the mask. We completely changed what Shocker's power is, but it's very Cyclops, where it's like we just go, he's got heat vision. But I don't really care.
You know,
It's whatever.
something else that this movie nails in my mind that particularly No Way Home doesn't understand how to do is it's able to have a character. I just had this thought. Make fun of a comic book name without it feeling like the movie being above the material again. So like when Toombs said, and part of it's just Keaton's performance is so good in general, but in the scene in particular, he's so much fun when he's like, "What is this pro wrestling?" And he's like, "Oh, the Shocker! Ooh, I shock people!"
Shocker, I shock people.
Like that
Part of that
works.
is just his delivery is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, but even on the page, that's a line that works in a way. Like I feel like it's very different. That works in a way that they're making fun of Octavius's name in No Way Home does not work. It's a different
Yeah, no, I
thing.
agree. I also really like that all their tech is based off of things in other movies. Like Shocker's gauntlets are the Crossbones gauntlets at the beginning of Civil War.
Yeah,
They've just added like the electrical bits at the end. We do a lot of cool, fun stuff with that, and it's never really like they don't really like put a pin and be like, "Hey, look, it's this. Like, this is what we're doing." But like, it is a cool detail.
yeah, I like that. They're kind of subtle about it. You can sort of guess it where some of it comes from.
Yeah. Iron Man suit in this movie is very awkward because they went. It's the
Yeah,
ultimate Iron Man suit, but it works with that because it's like a different design here. It's just repainted to look like that, and it looks really weird.
that's true.
Just
I
looks
don't always think of
awkward.
that stuff, especially because this is a Spider-Man movie, so I'm not paying that much attention to what exactly Iron Man's suit looks like. But
Well,
that is
and
true.
they hit it. Like they always used the model for Civil War in trailers. So when we got to the movie theater, I was like, "Oh, he's Ultimate Iron Man, but only in color. That's weird."
Tony Stark, seriously, later on you're going to figure out time travel, but you can't come up with your own mobile hotspot? Like, okay. He's like, thank goodness they have Wi-Fi here. Come on, Tony Stark. You can get around places without Wi-Fi.
You would think his glasses would just have Wi-Fi. He would just like emanate.
They're a hotspot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't have a chance to say this at the beginning, so since we've been on Vulture, I'll go back real quick and mention this, Austin. I
Yes.
I think the cold open in this is one of the best cold opens in a superhero movie, and with the way the Vulture's background is given to us, it is this perfect, succinct. I'm saying perfect too much, but it is. It's this perfect, succinct supervillain origin story in 5 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. And
He's
again, it
also
has some
Sandman from
parallels to
Spider-Man
Tony
3 done
Stark in it.
better.
Like he's not like alone in a cave with a box of scraps, but like, and it's kind of interesting because he is about scraps, but
Yeah.
but like there are some parallels in it, which is part of what makes me think of the first Iron Man film.
Yeah. Well, so okay. So that bit's cool because we basically went to Amazing 2, where the Vulture drops Spider-Man into the water tower, but he drops him into a lake instead. So we're kind of going back to a Lee Ditko thing, but also the Vulture in this is just Sandman from Spider-Man 3 done well. Because he also has the daughter thing, and that's what he's constantly saying throughout the movie is like, I do this for my family. Like, but
It's
it
kind
doesn't
of
have
like
the
that,
same.
but I like that it's not emotional manipulative where we don't have to make her sick. It doesn't have to be
That's
some
what
kind
I'm
of
saying. It's not
extenuating
done well.
circumstance. Yeah, the reason it works is I he's really Walter White in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, from what I know, I've not watched the show, but like through cultural osmosis. Sure.
But yeah, that's really what he is. Because you see in his origin how he quote unquote breaks bad. And he also has, except that he's more sympathetic, and I can appreciate him more than a Walter White, who is supposed to be a fascinating character that you are also not totally with. Like that's a guy that's ultimately very selfish and does it because he likes it. Vulture's like halfway in between, where he really is doing all of this for his family. That's not an excuse the way it is with Walter White, but he also clearly enjoys it. I mean, he's carved out kind of his own little empire, and I and I think some of it is kind of a revenge thing, and like in a really good way, where he's found a way to break the rules and get around the law and do what he feels like the elites are doing just under the radar. Like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Like, they won't let me work within the rules, so I shock people. So screw it. I'm gonna do what Tony Stark does. Why is he any better than I am? And I feel like this is maybe hyperbolic. He's maybe for me the most sympathetic of all of the MCU villains at the very least. If not,
Sure.
like superhero movie villains in general. Like obviously, I can't condone like the killing and like all of the law breaking that he's doing, but like he has more than a point. He's kind of right about everything. Like he's not like two wrongs don't make a right. I don't agree with the way he's handling it, but like he is correct in all of his beef.
Yeah. Uh, no, I just in general, Vulture's probably my second favorite MCU villain. I really like him, and it's amazing because I'm kind of indifferent to regular Vulture.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
he's fine.
Well, this is one of those cases where we've completely reinvented a character that was just sort of, I don't want to say nothing, but there wasn't a lot on the page to work with. And so you're not going to be that upset about him being reinvented.
Yeah, and we really play into the Vulture idea, like with the
Scavenging.
whole he's scavenging scraps and rebuilding them. I also really like how we use the Tinkerer here, and it's cool because obviously he and the Tinkerer both first appear in Amazing 2. So like it really feels like we're going back to that.
When he says Amazing 2, he means the issue 2, the comic.
Issue
For anybody
2,
who's confused.
Not the second movie, yeah. No, exactly.
Of course, I've talked about this a million times, but since we're being thorough and in this movie, I'll go ahead and bring this up. The choice for Ned Leeds was strange from the very beginning with the trailers because he's the spitting image of Miles Morales' best friend in the comics. Gank, whatever his last name is. I forever I've called this character Ned Gank Leeds because that's just who he is, and he's characterized the same way. Like he just is that character, but named Ned Leeds.
And I like Ned here.
He
gets worse with every movie, but that's partly because he has like an actual role to fulfill here, and I feel like after this he kind of doesn't.
No, he's stagnant. They don't know what to do with him. After this, he has the same problem that Pete Ross does in Smallville, where it's like, well, he's his best friend. He's there, I guess. What are we gonna do with him?
We have other confidant stuff to do, so it's like he doesn't really. You don't really need him, but like you said, there's nothing for him to do really. So we don't change him in any way.
Well,
so he kind of just exists.
You can accuse me of rewriting the story with the second movie, but maybe where we should have gone with that is make him Peter Parker's first tragic death. I mean, if you've got nothing else to do with him, you might as well use him to fulfill Peter's evolution. This is gonna be that chess scene. Peter's evolution in the Parker Luck thing, and his always being tragically responsible indirectly for the deaths of people he cares about. That's probably the best thing to do with that character. I've never had that thought before.
Yeah, it's either that or just don't bring him back after you get rid of him in No Way Home.
Well, sure, but like even Far From Home and No Way Home, it's like, what is this character for? And in No Way Home, it's like they so don't know what to do with him that they just keep throwing out ideas of things they could do that they're never going to do. So like it's mentioned that he's supposed to be a villain as in other universes, but you can kind of tell they're not going to commit to that. And if we
Yeah.
do it now, especially since we didn't go that way, spoilers for the new one in Brand New Day, you kind of can't do it now. You have to build to that. You can't 5 minute movies in go, by the way, he's angry with Spider-Man for some reason now and he's Hobgoblin. You can't do that now.
I also feel like at this point we've all just kind of collectively agreed Ned Leeds Hobgoblin was a mistake that we'll just ignore, and Roderick Kingsley is the real Hobgoblin.
That's true, but you could do it effectively in movies. Like you just start it from a
Yeah,
completely
of
different
course.
place. There's no reason.
But I don't think with this character.
There's no reason this character couldn't have been that eventually. You just have to evolve him in a very surprising kind of way, and you have to start it in your second movie. Like he should have been some sort of cross. He should have either been a tragic death or some kind of a cross, or I guess you could do both, between Ned Leeds and Harry Osborn. And I think that's what a lot of us kind of expected we'd eventually do with him. Where like with just this movie, he's so like jovial and happy-go-lucky and go with the flow and like loves helping Spider-Man. You can't imagine how he could ever go in like a dark, tragic way. And that's why it would be really cool to see it done effectively. You know what I mean? I mean, they did that sort of transformation sort of like to a lesser degree with MJ, where like they try to make her seem like impossible to be a great love interest for Peter Parker. You know, and then they try to transform her by the second movie. You could have done it with Ned. It'd be crazy, but you could have.
Yeah, because that actor in the Hobgoblin, I don't know. Anyways, this section I always thought was cool because it's like we're finally adapting something we never really have done before, which is the kind of issues where, like when Peter goes to Atlanta or like Florida, where it's like he would have kind of road trip adventures here and there, in old school Spider-Man, and it felt like we were finally doing that.
Well, and it's fun that we both do the road trip thing and the first time he goes on an airplane at all, because the early Stan Lee comics also do that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I like the decathlon angle. Um, the kind of quiz bowl thing. Um, I think this is a really good workaround. In or I don't know if I want to say workaround, but kind of like retooling. In having a good excuse to reinvent some of these characters so they're not like exactly what they've been before. Because we avoid, especially in this franchise on the whole, we avoid too many characters that we've done before. But this movie obviously actually brings in some, like Flash, like Aunt May, and the gifted school allows you to reinvent some of these characters and make them true enough to the core of what they were, but be kind of a new flavor. And I also have a somewhat cynical read on it, Austin. And like I not cynical for the movie. I feel like part of the reason, and this is part of why it's kind of brilliant that they thought of it. I think part of the reason that this is a like private, I don't know if it's a private school and that like Aunt May's having to pay a lot of money for him to go there. I'm fuzzy on that. But it's like
I don't think
this.
we really get into it.
It feels like it's just this kind of like extra gifted school that exists for kids that are going to be bored in public school, and those kinds of things I think exist even like outside of paid private schools to some degree. I've heard of some of these places in different cities. I don't know if New York has anything like that. But anyway,
But I know here we've got like specialty programs and stuff like in schools. Like I always kind of looked at it like that.
Yeah, but like Rasco, who used to be on the channel, I went to a school that I maybe it was just their regular public school, but it was set up sort of like this, where it's a little bit more like college, where like you pick sort of a major, and a lot of the classes you take are about the specific thing you're interested in. Like there are
That's
schools
what I'm
like
talking about. Yeah,
that.
we have
Oh,
that
you guys
here.
have that?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, that's
awesome.
what I'm talking about. Yeah,
My
I also
cynical
went to school with multiple MCU Flash Gordon, Flash Thompsons. We haven't gotten MCU Flash
no,
Gordon
we haven't
yet.
gotten MCU Flash Gordon yet. Austin, my cynical read on sorry, I'm taking too long to make this point. My cynical read on they're going to the gifted school is public schools just suck now, and it would be no fun to depict that. Like it would be if they did it anything like realistically, it would just be too depressing, and they would have to either make it really unrealistic and pretend like there's more like overall decent education that happens in public school, and like not every school is exactly the same, but like you look I don't mean to get preachy, but like you look at the numbers with
I
where
mean,
like
this movie
reading
also
levels are
says
right
that
now. Sorry,
we've
what?
lost students. This movie also says that the school has lost students. Like we have that in this movie. Like none of the teachers care about anything. Like I don't know. I don't think they're afraid of tackling stuff like that. I think we have that here. Uh, you have like Hannibal Buress's character who's like, I don't care. Like that woodshop teacher that's not even paying attention. The
Yeah,
teacher that's running this field trip
no,
is
you're
like,
right.
we've lost students.
There's some of that commentary in it, but there's in making it a gifted school, you can get away from the fact that a lot of schools now don't even give letter grades. They don't hold kids back. The teachers aren't allowed to. Very often this here in America. I don't know how bad it is in Canada, but like there's a lot of horror stories about teachers that aren't allowed to discipline at all in the classroom. Like this lets you not have to worry about any of that stuff.
I was saying, like, I feel like we have that here already. That stuff,
They have
and
detention, and they make kids actually go there. Like there's more discipline in the school than
like I
in
said,
some.
he just leaves. Like they don't care. uh, yeah, like I don't know. I don't think.
I'm just
I think
saying
they just went
they
because
found a way
Peter's smart.
to go half in between, where like yeah you're right, some of that commentary is there, but I also think that's part of the reason they went with the gifted school.
I think it's just like Peter's a smart kid, so we want to like showcase that. I think is all it is. But maybe.
I don't know.
How do you
I just don't
feel?
think you would have done that 10 years before this.
Maybe I don't know. That's also like a pretty common thing in modern Spider-Man stuff, where we tend to do. He goes to like a some sort of special high school. Like I think Ultimate Spider-Man, like the cartoon, may have already gone to that.
Oh, I don't
Uh,
even remember that. I thought that was new for
I don't know.
this.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but um, how do you feel about his AI suit AI cap?
I I like it fine. I feel like it could have been really irritating. I like that it's not there from the very start. That like
Yeah,
it's a thing he unlocks, and it's a thing that he's not supposed to be able to do yet. So like it's both a it's both like a ends up being kind of a consequence to the mistake he's making, and for a little bit gives him like all these extra abilities and things. Like it's a really good encapsulation of how over his skis he is.
yeah. No, I agree. I also think they've got just good chemistry. Him and Jennifer Connelly's voice,
Oh
uh,
sure,
and
I think
like
it's
I said, it
important
helps
that
them
it's a
for like a
female
little bit.
voice.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I really like that. Like it gives us an excuse to have that like Spider-Man talking to himself, but through this, I think all of that really works. But I'm also glad that we didn't continue with it. Like it feels
Me
like
too.
something just to do for this moment. Uh, yeah, but I do really like it here. And it really, like you said, kind of highlights just how out of his depth Spider-Man is.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that you get that key line in the cold open when Toombs says, "Oh, that's it. I overextended myself," and then I and like he's right. Like I said in I his beef with Tony Stark and the government and how all of that is handled, where it's not fair that that's being taken away from him, just because of like how much he has on the line. He also has overextended himself. Like it's not a good idea to put like a HELOC out on your house to like start a business. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
put himself in massive potential debt and could lose absolutely everything. And so like that gives him really good personal stakes. It's also a bad idea. It's also a mistake. Like she's right when she says that, but it doesn't make him wrong about what he's upset about. And then interestingly, that's Peter's entire character arc is he's overextended himself.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. He's very much a believable teenager here, where he doesn't know what to do with himself, and then it's like, "Oh man, we've only been here for 30
37
minutes,
minutes. That's great.
and my movie just started over. What the hell?"
What?
Yeah, don't worry, I can just go to where we were. But
The timestamp's on the screen.
that's annoying. It just went air. It just happened again. What the hell?
Are you watching it streaming?
Yeah,
I don't know why it would do that.
I don't know, just doesn't like the scene.
Well, hopefully it'll
Okay,
let
I
you
should be close enough.
skip ahead a little bit and catch up.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I just went to the where he's testing all the webbing.
I like that MCU Spider-Man is allowed to wear clothes over his suit sometimes, because that was always kind of a fun comic book thing. Is like he is it here as a kid, but like Spider-Man's usually a younger guy, and he's got a sense of humor, and he's not too self-serious, and so he'll do. And sometimes he does that kind of thing for practical reasons. Like
So really go to the
in the new
backpack,
movie.
especially in the.
In the new movie, there's a fight where he's wearing a big winter coat because he's in the snow, and like I like that they'll do stuff like that.
Yeah, and that Amazing does the winter coat as well, but we like really expanded on that. That's just like a little moment where he's
Oh, I
wearing
forgot
it. But
about
like
that.
we really expanded on that here, and especially like I said, this movie goes to the backpack a lot. Spider-Man with a
Yes.
backpack.
Which is,
Also, for
small,
some
but it's kind of a
reason,
classic Spider-Man thing. Sorry, what?
yeah, exactly. Also, for some reason, Damage Control like unites this franchise.
Yes.
'Cause I think it's in all of them except for Far From Home.
Well, and I really liked that with the new one. That there's a few things with Brand New Day that take it back to Homecoming some, and really puts Damage Control right at the forefront. I almost wish they were even more prominently featured all throughout than they have been, just because it's it's set up at the start of this as a kind of a big bureaucratic problem.
Yeah. I don't know. You maybe could have made that work. I like them here. I don't really like them after this, but y- I don't know. Maybe it could have been like a cool thing that we'd like delved more into.
Yeah, just because it's such a like New York centric thing, and I keep
Yeah,
saying street
sure.
level, but like it's such a street level thing. And I was when this came out, I just really excited that they thought to deal with the collateral damage and aftermath stuff.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. Especially this is uh, not the. This is what 2 movies after Civil War. So like we're and obviously it was introduced there.
Yeah.
So we're delving into that a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was even. mentioned in Civil War.
Not damage control. I just mean in terms of like the collateral damage stuff. Like we're building on that.
Oh,
Like
I see
now
what
we're
you're saying. I was like,
showing.
where is it in Civil War?
Yeah, sorry. I just meant like building on the collateral damage stuff.
Right. I like how reasonable Liz is as a character in this, where like she could be really overly dramatic about what Peter's doing, and like she would be in constantly flaking out on her and stuff, and like she would be right to be frustrated, but I like that she's smart enough to go, there's something going on here. Like
Yeah.
I
I could see the argument that she's too reasonable, but I also agree. Like I think it's tastefully done and that she
yeah,
both questions things and isn't over the top. Like
it would be too much. Here's the thing: I can also appreciate that argument, and I heard people complain about that when this came out. But what clinches it for me is that I I get the sense that she would have been really done with him after the dance, and obviously she's got different priorities once her father goes to prison. So I like that moment when he comes up to her and apologizes, and she's basically like, you're still on about the homecoming dance. Like I couldn't be further from thinking about that, like after everything that's
yeah.
happened with my family. But I think she's really kind of done with it. So even if they weren't moving to Oregon, I think she'd be done with him at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they do a really good job of making this feel huge, and like just how small Spider-Man is in the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I don't know. I got height issues, but this triggers it a little bit,
Oh, interesting.
which is weird because I
Well,
don't normally have that in movies, but a little bit.
I feel like we have. Tell me if I'm going too far when I say this.
Yeah,
I This is not one to one, but in a weird way, we're doing almost like a Superman has to leap tall buildings before he can fly, like before he gets that power, kind of thing with Spider-Man. Where this is Spider-Man that still web swings, but he's scared of heights. So part of the reason he doesn't go to skyscrapers is because like he actually physically can't handle that yet. Probably
he's
like
not there yet.
he's actually
Yeah.
scared of heights.
Mhm. He's never been this high before, and specifically to when the cops show up, some of the far off shots also remind me a bit of the Neversoft game, which I always thought was cool.
Oh yeah, sure.
Uh, but yeah, no, like all of this, I think is really effective.
And just not a thing I would ever think to do with Spider-Man,
Yeah.
because you're just used to seeing him up high a lot. And I
Mhm.
don't feel like it has that like cutesy ironic Smallville thing of it's the early days, so Clark Kent has to be afraid of Clark Kent being afraid of heights is dumb. Like if he's
Well, and
able to
also there's
fly,
no
why would he be
buildings
afraid of
around.
heights? And like he can't be hurt, like it's weird. I it makes sense that there are levels to get there, and that's why in its way this still feels a little origin-y, even though we're past the honest to god origin.
Yeah. No, and I think what helps to what you're saying with the Superman is there's nothing around him. Like if he falls, it's only this thing that he's on. Like it is a little different than being around like say like the middle of New York where there's like any way he falls, he can catch
He
himself.
can
Like
just web swing and like shoot a
there's
web
nothing
up and
around
grab
him.
something.
Yeah, like he's got this very specific building, but like it's a little awkward to try to swing off of if he, falls.
Yeah, I thank God for that helicopter. And that's a real classic Spider-Man situation too, where it's like the cops show up and they're threatening him, and then he's gonna use their helicopter to get back in this building. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, specifically with what I was saying with the game is the through the scope look as he's crawling on the building. That's like that
Oh
one level in
yeah,
that game. Yeah, and yeah, stuff we've never really done in any of these movies.
let me hit some more of these super chats. Joel Davis, $10 super
Yeah,
chat. Considering his Rotten Tomatoes film critic review scores are always in the 90s, and his movies are making billions each time. Is Tom Holland the most successful Spider-Man we've ever had? Well, just mathematically, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's also building off of other ones too. So like,
Yes,
you could also say that that helps, but
it does.
technically, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the Tobey Maguire movies help in a way that the not throwing shade if you love those movies, but like the Andrew Garfield movies, I guess like keep him in the public consciousness, but money wise,
It showed them what not to do.
they didn't light the world on fire.
There are certain things where I'm like, I feel like we're making a conscious choice not to go to with these, specifically with villains,
Yes.
where like the amazing movies really uh messed up their villains, and I feel like we're making a direct choice of not letting that happen again, and not specifically going to they're just crazy, I don't know.
That's it. And that's a lot of why this feels more classic to me even than the Sam Raimi movies did, because certain aspects of those, particularly the first two, I definitely had a somewhat more kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, because I'm tired of this word, but like grounded and realistic kind of feel where like it is a kid living with his aging aunt, and they don't have a lot of money, and they're dealing with like problems with bills and stuff. Like all of that is in there, but on the villain side, it's kind of too big. And Doc Ock was a lot more human, but he's also still in more of that like uh upper echelon. Like, I mean, he's not a rich guy, but like he's not as much in the like, I don't know how to put this, like as I like I keep saying street level, but like street level and blue collar place as like a Tombs is. I think that's what those movies were missing, is we didn't have a lot of blue collar. And then when we get to 3, we finally do with Sandman, and I didn't believe him.
Yeah,
I guess that's what
no,
I'm
for
trying to
sure.
get at.
Well, I think the first two movies have good villains, but it's like, I think Green Goblin like really helps with Defoe. Like, I've always thought Defoe kind of carries it in a way that he's a little lacking on paper.
Yeah.
But like, there's good stuff with Green Goblin in that movie, but like, I think Defoe really helps. And then you also have a really strong performance with Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, and his characterization's a bit better. And then Amazing is kind of just always going back to uh, the he's just crazy thing with Norman, but with way worse writing and just performances that I don't think really work. And then here we're going back to, okay, like what actually worked about those first two? What works about the villains in the comics? Like, how can we try to make a compelling villain again?
Yeah. Well, and don't get me wrong, obviously Norman Osborn was always a like, multimillionaire or billionaire in the comics. I'm not saying that Spider-Man doesn't tangle with elites. I'm saying that he's got the blue collar villains and he's got the rich elite villains, and we didn't have enough of a mix before. And so it was nice to
Yeah,
finally get more down to to those brass tacks with this with Adrian. So I'm not saying I
yeah,
wanted every movie to have a vulture. I was just glad to start with it. I feel like that's a
to
really
finally
great
do that.
starting place. And
Yeah,
look, if you're making a Spider-Man movie and you have no idea if it's going to be popular or if you can make the whole thing work on a technical level, uh Green Goblin is the right villain in the same way as Joker is the right villain for the what you think might be the only Batman movie you ever make. So like obviously I'm not throwing shade at Sam Raimi for starting with Green Goblin. I'm just saying that since they are pretty sure they're going to get a full franchise with this, this was a really great starting place. That's really all I'm saying.
yeah.
I want
No,
look.
I
I
agree.
still want their Norman Osborn, and we're probably never going to get it. So like, I don't want to sound like I'm a
I
hypocrite
said
with
this
it.
last night, but I wanted the master planner. Like, that's how you differentiate your Doc Ock. You
Yeah,
just go, here's fully evil comic book mastermind Doc Ock. I'm not gonna get it now. Same with, I wanted trying to run the mob Green Goblin, and we're not gonna get
we're not
that
going to get
either.
it.
So
And I still say No Way Home is making a big statement that any big character we ever had before will never show up in this universe. I
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
how I feel
I
too.
don't believe it.
No, there was so much potential off of this where I'm like, I want to see what their Jameson is. Oh, you didn't have a take on Jameson. Okay. I want to see what your Doc Ock is. Oh, we don't even
Dude,
have a
I
Doc
go
Ock.
further than that. They didn't just not have a take on Jameson. It's a cameo. They don't have a Jameson. Like the fact
Yeah.
that it's just a little cameo means that he doesn't exist. It doesn't
He's
count.
just Simmons playing Alex Jones, and it
Yeah,
sucks.
doesn't
Yeah.
count. He's technically in there. Look, if they'd come back and did stuff with him, then I would not be saying it doesn't count. But right now, it's just this little cameo in an after credits. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
No,
sad.
because even people always go to like Harry and Gwen in this, but like I'm also cool with them not being here in the first movie. Like they're not there through the high school stuff in the comics. Like I'm fine with getting there.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
of
we never
course.
did.
No, but the biggest, and this is predictable. Everybody knows I'm going to say this, but like the biggest misstep with this is just going too far, in the direction of don't talk at all about origin, because we've been there and done that, and we just did it like a few years ago with Amazing One, and so like we need to be allowed to at least discuss it to some degree. It's got to come up. We got to know for sure that there was an Uncle Ben. And Civil War makes it pretty clear that it's either that or at least the origin is the same in some way. He lost someone close to him. He comes right out and says, I have learned that if you have the power to save someone you care about and you don't do it, I've learned the consequences of that. To this day, we don't know what he was talking about. I want to still assume that there's an Uncle Ben, but there's now all of this evidence that there probably never was, even though there's like little bits of evidence that he might have been there. I kind of don't even think they know at this point. But more than that, I just
They
feel like
definitely do by No Way Home, but it's like they've swapped. Where it's like he definitely existed here in Civil War. Far From Home's weird. No Way Home decides
they've
no,
kind
he
of
doesn't
retconned it at
exist.
this point.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm
because
also not convinced that we won't get to the end of this new trilogy, and they won't be like, "This was also it was a 6-film origin saga."
yeah, totally. That's a
Because like
really
that's
funny
what they did
line
here. Like,
when
which one?
sorry,
Sorry.
when I uh the Prowler, what's his face, says I've got ice cream in here. That cracked me up in the theater.
I think that's really funny. I think Spider-Man's like, "You deserve that. You're a criminal. Bye, criminal."
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's great too.
I'm
That whole
fine.
scene I think is really funny.
It's really good. I'm fine with that as like a little nod to Miles and a setup for what could happen later, and like you can either deal with it or not. I I would have liked the Prowler to start being developed, even if we don't full on do Miles, just because you've got a great actor for it, and he could have in your second movie been like working for whoever your big bad was there. I Like there's a lot of cool
That's
things you could do
fair.
with him. I really wanted him to come back. I don't know why we never did anything with that.
I don't feel as strongly as I do with Scorpion, just because I don't really care about Prowler. But like, I at the same time understand where you're coming from, because that's how I feel about Scorpion. So like, 100%. Like, we should have built this stuff more. Like,
Well, and understand,
how did none of these people come back? Like,
look, outside of the Miles stuff, I don't care about Prowler that much either. I just thought that was a really strong performance. Uh, it feels like a weird kind of cameo situation to like never build on it and do anything with it. Like I only feel that way because of how well it's executed. As far as
yeah,
Prowler goes, like if you really like that character, they did plenty of stuff with that in the Spider-Verse movie, so that's fine. Like I don't need that here necessarily just for that character. And Prowler for me only matters if with Miles, you know what I mean? Like I don't know anything about regular Prowler. So
mhm. Yeah, I know that's fair. The Prowler episode of the '90s cartoon is pretty funny. It's got the like Ice King gangster guy.
I don't even
Uh,
remember that right on.
my brother and I quote that all the time because there's a part where he goes, "It ain't nice to double cross the ice." It's beautiful.
But yeah, probably the thing that is most lacking with this movie, I was alluding to this earlier, with just the fact that Uncle Ben is never mentioned, is just the lack of status quo stuff. Like that you are avoiding Jameson and you're not having him like try to be a photographer and all of that. And like I guess you could save that for the next movie. That was all stuff in the comics he's doing in high school. But like
Yeah.
you could wait and build to that too, I guess. But I just had the sneaking suspicion that we weren't interested in it, and we weren't.
No, and with this movie specifically, I'm like, okay, there's not like a ton of room for it. Like,
Right.
it's fine, but it needs to be there. You need to then get to it. Like, it's where I feel like this movie's a really good foundation that we never built on.
Now, let me ask you a practical question, Austin.
Yes.
And this speaks to something that I mentioned earlier with how it makes sense that Vulture's henchmen don't all have like big, flashy costumes. If he's trying, if Toombs is trying to be under the radar, is it weird that he's got a suit with these big giant knife wings? Like,
to be fair, he's not going out in the day. He's only here because Spider-Man's been taking them down. So he's here as like a backup. He's not even really been going out for their meetings with like selling this stuff. He's really just there to steal stuff, and he steals it at night.
No, that's
so,
true.
Like,
and in their defense, the suit is basically urban camouflage. Like, as gigantic as that wingspan is, and all of that, like, it sort of works, I guess, in the idea that he's going to get in and get out, and you can see how practically that suit would help you scavenge.
Yeah. I also really like that Toombs is just as kind of awkward and not as I don't know, extravagant of a villain as like as Spider-Man is here, being brand new. Like, he's very slow and lumbering, especially in the climax of this. Okay, I think this might have my second favorite Spider-Man climax after the first one. I really like the whole, they're on this plane and it's like huge, but it's so far above them that like neither of them can really move well, and like they're very awkward, and it's very like methodical in how they have to work around being unable to kind of jump around this plane. It's really cool.
Yeah, and that helps you as a viewer get more involved in it because it feels visceral and more like it's really happening.
And it helps it feel really small at the same time. Like, it's got that, like I talked about last night, like it's both really big and really small at the same time.
Well, what's cool is with the Vulture, like you said, being kind of slow and lumbering, all of that both fits in the animal motif and is just right practically for where he is in his life.
Yeah, exactly.
So it all really fits together. It's not that Tim Burton thing of she's going to act like a cat and he's going to act like a penguin because I want to do this kind of abstract animal motif.
Just the shocker I've been looking for.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought the big guy with the beard in this scene was the same guy. Maybe it's not the same guy. I can't tell.
It's not, but they're close enough that I can understand where you're coming from. Because they're both doing like the Spider-Man,
and he's got a voice in a somewhat higher register. I think the first guy was maybe a little older than this guy.
I'm not sure.
I gotta go back and look.
I was actually thinking the first guy might be a little younger, but you could be right.
But you were correct. That is not who that was.
But the only reason I knew that is because I've had that moment before.
Oh, where you thought it was him too?
Guy. Oh, no, actually, I think he's different. Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, Iron Man.
That's a good reveal shot. Yeah, like he talks kind of like him and he says similar things. That's
Iron
a good.
Man, do a flip.
Iron Man, do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll.
That's a great reveal shot when Iron Man finally shows up, and like you're waiting for it. You kind of that part's predictable. Like you kind of know what's gonna happen because
Yeah, this
Tony.
is a major like
Oh
shit.
crap! Yeah,
Yeah, this is yeah.
like Tony knows he's lying to him, and the way Peter hangs up on him, like there's about to be a reckoning. He's gonna show
Mhm.
up, and I also like the reveal that this time he's actually in the suit. Like he really did show up.
Yeah, no, that's very much part of it. That like, oh my god, oh yep, he's actually here now. He's still wearing that weird suit. That's
And
fine.
part of that's because he's going to personally help solve this problem. So, like, it suggests that he really does, you know, care about people, and it's not just I'm gonna use you when I need to use you. I just really like the complexity, and obviously overall with these movies and the arc that Tony goes through, the kind of like walking contradiction he is, and the complexity in his compassion versus his narcissism. Uh, but it's great here again with Toombs's uh, beef with him, and with how damage control is handling everything, because he's both a like compassionate and somewhat more selfless hero now who can mentor Peter, and also is so above everyone that he doesn't even realize when he's screwing people. Like both things are true at the same time. And it's really
Mhm.
interesting and it's very complicated.
Yeah, for sure. So this was also really cool for me in the theater because when we got that in the trailer, like the biggies holding the boat together, I was like, "Oh, cool! This is gonna be his if this be my destiny moment of like he's got to hold the thing." Obviously, it's different, but it's kind of like what we do in Spider-Man 2 as well. It's like merging them, so he's got to hold them together instead of lifting the thing. That's cool. I'm excited,
Yeah.
and then I actually get that moment in this movie as well.
Yeah, and you get it a lot closer to what the source material looked like than if it was just done with the
Yeah,
boats.
yeah, no, exactly.
Or the boat. It's one boat, but it looks like two boats for a minute because it gets split apart.
Well, that's because we were in the Dark Knight parody section where we made fun of the voice, and then we
Right.
now we're doing the boat.
That's true. He never says this. Oh, so that's what that feels like.
Tony could have said that here.
Yeah, that's true. Like that's a nice suit, Tony, or nice suit coat. Anyway, um, I also really like that as a mentor for Peter, Tony still doesn't have all of his stuff completely figured out either. I like we've talked a lot about how through the MCU movies, he's inching like a little closer to like in honest to god selfless hero every time. And obviously, you talk a lot about how at the end of Avengers he's already kind of done like the selfless act thing, but it's easier to just like throw yourself on the spike to save people than it is to like continually understand what the right thing to do is in each situation. And so he keeps like making these major mistakes and then overcompensating and then having to learn how far he overcompensated. And it's interesting that this movie being about Peter overextending himself, I Tony Stark is the mentor for that. Like when you get to the end of this movie, I Tony is 100% correct in his assessment that of Peter, that he thinks the suit is what makes him a hero, and he's got to I like get his heart in the right place and not do this for I like personal ambition and fame and all of that. And so he finally gives him the suit at the end because he has figured that lesson out. But Tony also goes way too far at the end in wanting to make him an Avenger right away. Like he's still overcompensating.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Like
definitely.
it's really interesting. That is not the correct move. And they kind of make a joke out of it, like it's kind of there more just for the fake out that we don't expect him to open that door and there's a press conference there. But that's very in character for him.
Yeah, well, even just the way he's like, I'm your mentor, Peter. Like, this is great. I knew you would do it. Like, you haven't spoken to this kid once since since you just used him in Civil War.
That's what I'm saying. Is like he still lives too far above people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they finally built the Lego Death Star. Should we get back to some more super chat? Actually, before we do that, I just wanted to throw out. I really like that last scene with Aunt May. I like her in this movie. It's definitely a different take. I wish they did more with her after this, because again, I feel like it's a good foundation that's not taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say enough is done with her in this if we had continue with that past this, but
Yeah,
retroactively, if it feels a little thin here now too.
no, I like how kind of motherly she is in this. I think they have really good chemistry. They got a good dynamic. It's just they didn't do anything after this.
Yeah, well, and like it's in its way a I don't know if you'll agree with this. It's in its way a healthy relationship in that they clearly get along really well, and she's doing her best as a single parent and all of that. In my opinion, and I don't know if this is on purpose or not. This is not a criticism. I actually really like this angle with Aunt May as a single parental figure who's not even his parent in the first place. Um, she and I'm not gonna say it's like gentle parenting nonsense, but she actually, again, maybe a little bit overcompensating, treats him a little bit too much like a friend before a son. And I
I think
think
that's part of the
that's interesting.
modernizing it. Yeah, and the big thing I have with this is she does feel like somebody's aunt.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Aunt May is weird in general, and that she's basically a grandma, but she's an aunt.
Yeah. Well, I always wondered if she was a great aunt, and we were just never told that. But then we're given her, familial connection, so I guess she's not. But
For sure. And I like the stuff with her preparing, getting him prepared for the dance is cute. It's no, I like her in this movie. Again, it's a very different take. It's like I get not liking it, but I think it works for this.
But it's also really distracting that, again, they're not talking about an Uncle Ben. It's really
Yes.
important, not just for the power responsibility origin, not just for the fact that I obviously he still has a lot to learn about responsibility here, and that's great that it's not a lesson that he just like easily completely learns before the movie starts, and then he's totally put together. Like he's still got a lot to learn, but that's gotta come from a place. So like you want to know for sure what that is, but also it's important to know if he's had a male role model.
Mhm.
He's a
Yeah.
different character if he's raised solely by her. And again, retroactively after the first couple of movies, it feels like that's maybe what happened.
By No Way Home, you can just be like, she's not even Aunt May, she's Mom May. We don't care.
Yeah.
She's real mom.
She's actually his mom. He calls him Aunt May for some reason. They've just got kind of a weird little thing that they do that we'll never understand. And he had a deadbeat dad that left him when he was 5 years old. That's what it was.
I'm still holding out hope for Uncle Ben Grimm, but we're not gonna get it.
Do you think the movie does a convincing job of concealing who Liz's father is without having to cheat too much, like in not giving us her last name and all of that. Because sometimes that kind of thing comes off real forced, where it's like, here are things people would have been talking about that they're not, just so we can have this reveal. I think this is about as well as that's ever handled.
Yeah, I think it's handled really well. Also, no one has last names, which really helps that aspect.
Except for
Like,
Peter Parker.
Yeah, but like Ned isn't Ned leads in this. He's just Ned. Flash is also just Flash. Even how they're credited is there's no last names with any of them.
So that does really help.
No, and I went in and it was spoiled to me that the Vulture's daughter was in this, but it was spoiled to me that Zendaya was his daughter. So when this happened, I was like, oh my god. No, it was crazy.
Well, and it also plays like they're intentionally making it a big misdirect. I don't know how intentional this was, but just in that last scene, I think they're really playing with it, even if they weren't thinking about it with the casting of Liz, where like you especially wouldn't guess that he would be her dad because they're of completely different ethnicities, obviously. And so when that door opens and he's there, part of that shock is just, wait, what? Obviously, these characters don't look anything like each other. And then
once the Vulture broke into her house,
and then what? Sure, that was the thought I had in the theater at first. I was like, wait, what is he doing here? And then, oh, that's her dad. And then it's like without any dialogue about it, they're giving you the exposition of the very next thing that happens is her mom walks in,
and
I think that's on purpose. Where it's like, oh, okay, here's how that works. Like, obviously.
When I saw this with my mom, she jumped when the mom showed up. It was like, oh my god.
That's really funny. I mean, even though we're not given last names, I feel like it's pretty common for people in high school to know what all the kids' last names are. So, like, he probably knows that if her last name is Toombs, I'm going to assume it is, that it is Toombs.
So.
I'm fuzzy on, does he actually know Adrian Toombs' name at this point?
I don't think he
does.
Knows. Like, obviously when he gets arrested, he would know, but like...
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he doesn't.
But like, it works. It works because of that, partly. Because it's not like, so we're not giving her last name, but it's not like he should know that her father is the Vulture because the last name is Toombs.
Yeah, exactly.
That line reading
there is really great.
That line reading that Michael Keaton gives, yeah, we talked over like the best scene of the movie, but the line reading that Keaton gives. Well, I guess the best scene is actually this bit with when he threatens him in the car. But that I always think of this as all one scene, but I guess it's broken up a little bit. Anyway, when he says I forget what exactly the line is, but Spider-Man, the way he says it, he is channeling Defoe pretty hard right there. It's great.
100%. 100%. He is, yeah.
And I mean, it's probably not on purpose.
You also know that he ended that take with "I'm Batman," because apparently he did that a lot.
Did he
while
really?
Fighting? Apparently, he would do things like that while fighting Tom Holland. He'd be like, "I'm Batman."
That's awesome. I love this casting for a million reasons. Partly because I mean Keaton's always great, but he's right for this. He's the right age for this. He's sufficiently creepy when he needs to be, but like I said, I find him to be pretty sympathetic. But also, it's just kind of cool. Like historically for the genre that you'd reboot Spider-Man and your stunt cast, like well-known villain actor would be one of the first superheroes that started this whole thing in motion. And I know they went for him just because they thought he was right for the part. But that's classy. Sorry, what?
Yeah. The first two movies both have really cool, like historical stunt casted villains. Because you have the whole thing with Jake Gyllenhaal, where like he almost, or I think like Kirsten Dunst tried to get Tobey Maguire like replaced with him or something for the sequel for Spider-Man. Where, like there was a moment where he could have been Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Plus, he
Uh,
played Nightcrawler in X-Men.
Freddie, when I showed him this afternoon, was like, why is MJ giving him the bird? And even in the theater, I was like, that's such a weird moment. Like, she just does all these weird, random, bizarre things. I feel like is she reinvented a little bit in the movie after this, or do we buy it because she's going through a phase here?
I think she's consistently weird in the second one, and then I feel like we lose it a little bit in 3, and because now there are a couple, and
Well, she still
then
does some of those weird
Brandon
things,
Day
but
she's older, so it's
she's
different.
also leaning a little bit more into traditional femininity in the second movie. Like she's going out of her way to look as ungirlish as possible in this, even at the even at Homecoming. So it does feel like she's evolving to some degree.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I always hoped that what we would do with her is that she would then want to become an actress, and Mary Jane would be her stage name.
Oh, that would have been good.
But we didn't go that route.
No, no, we didn't. But I could see
I
that
always thought that would
character
have been
being an
kind of
actress.
neat.
That would have been fine.
Yeah. I really like that, at least in these first two, we do the multiple suit thing where we're just adapting different comic suits, where this is obviously looking at Scarlet Spider.
I
I
guess
thought it
so.
was
I
kind
didn't
of
even have
neat.
that thought.
Obviously, the colors are flipped, but to be more
Yeah,
traditional Spider-Man. But like
yeah,
this is
that's
just
fair.
the Scarlet Spider suit.
I guess I didn't think of that because I've always just associated it with the like crappy homemade costume that the first movie does. I mean that Raimi's movie
Yeah,
does.
yeah, and obviously, like they all have their homemade suits. But like it's cool. Like that's the most homemade looking Spider-Man costumes. Like it's cool we went to that. And then Far From Home is going to do the noir costume.
It's it's hilarious that Flash brings up Branzino because that's a thing in Amazing Spider-Man, and I don't know if that was on purpose, but I don't know how we have now two Spider-Man movies that bring up Branzino, but okay.
I know it's weird. So if we reboot again, it has to pop in.
You gotta bring Branzino back. It's odd that it is crappy homemade suit. His goggles are still expressive.
I like that they're not super expressive, but I assumed, yeah, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, you wouldn't think they would do anything, but they do.
Although I guess in Civil War he does have that line about how the goggles help him focus, so I guess that's part of it. Like they like lock in.
Yeah, and he can do tech stuff. He could make that happen. And
Yeah,
it's a
that's
bit of
true.
a conceit in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
why are they, you know, actually opening up with surprise when he's surprised? And that's comic book stuff, and I like that. I like that they came up with a decent enough excuse to do it.
Yeah. Well, it also helps that it's not like the full Spider-Man lenses. Like
Yeah.
it is just kind of scrappy looking.
But I just mean in general and having the expressive eyes.
Yeah. No, of
Uh,
course.
Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. Does it make me heartless that I don't find Adrian sympathetic at all? He already has enough money to take care of his family, and he still sells to evil people. That's on top of him being completely wrong about Tony. He dismissed him and all the good he's done because he's rich. He comes off to me as really greedy, entitled, and judgmental. I agree that he's ignoring the heroic side of Tony, but he's not wrong in the way Tony has screwed people like him that are, like the little people just trying to make a business happen. Like he's right about the bureaucracy of that, and
Yeah.
in certain ways he's thinking about the little people, and in certain ways he's not. Like,
Yeah.
especially
No,
in
he's very selfish. Like I don't find him
yeah
super. I think that Breaking Bad comparison is probably a good call, because like I also don't find him super sympathetic, but he starts from a sympathetic place. It's just he's so like diluted at this point that I think he's kind of lost that original starting place.
Well, and when I say he's really sympathetic, I am mostly talking about the start, and like obviously
Yeah,
he's let his power corrupt him, but that's the mirror for Spider-Man. You got to do
yeah.
that. But there also is obviously still some of that in Tony, where like and that's also just human condition. Like, if you're too rich, if you're too powerful, you're always to some degree going to lose perspective.
Mhm.
And again, I think that's really the point of part of the point anyway, of the ending with Spider-Man not joining the Avengers is he's realizing that he was being corrupted even by just the idea of that level of power.
But that's why I always go back to Spider-Man 3 with Sandman, where like I do think he does just genuinely have a I got to take care of my family. That means it's okay for me to break the law.
Yeah.
But it's just well done this time. Like I believe that this person exists, and
Well, in
like I
Spider-Man
think he's
3,
a
it always
real
felt like an
person.
excuse to here's what he's going to do. We've got to give him some kind of generic
Vulture's also not whiny.
motivation. What's that?
Sandman is whiny. Vulture's also not whiny, and Sandman is whiny.
Hmm.
This is maybe my favorite scene in the movie. I really like this, and then I really like how we recontextualize the him lifting the thing.
Yeah, of course. But like this
Because what I
resonates with me. The speech of like the rich and powerful people, they don't care about us. They do whatever they want. I like what was I supposed to do when the playing field was not even? And so Dan Schneider's point is well taken that like at this point he has plenty of money and he is arming like terrible people and like I said, I don't condone any of what he's doing, of course, but I really buy how he got there.
yeah. Daniverse just compared him to a celebrity that loses touch after getting money. I think that's also a good comparison.
Sure. But like I said, there's also kind of this revenge angle also where he's never going to forget I like losing that contract and the people that he blames for it. And so
Yeah.
like he can't get in his mind too successful at this point because again like the playing field is not level. So to him he should build as big of an empire as he can, break any rules he wants to cuz that's what the elites do.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I got to talk about this scene. 'Cause one of my big things that really hit me with this right from the get go is that it felt like we were finally getting a Spider-Man movie that was like actually built around Peter's choices and actions. Where like he does something, so therefore things escalate, and then he does something, and
Yes.
then so forth. And like we kind of talked about with the Raimi movies, each one of those ends with the villain literally having to call him to show up for the climax. I really love that this sets up Peter at the beginning of the climax of we do the stuff drops on him, but as opposed to I have to get out of this because I have to give my aunt her cure. We've recontextualized it where this is his out, where this is the moment where because immediately his first reaction is he starts to break down like an actual child, and he's calling for help, and this is the moment where he can do that, and eventually people will show up because this building just collapsed. They're going to
Yeah.
investigate this, and they will eventually pull him out. But this is the moment where like 100% it's his choice, like I have to do this even though he doesn't really have to, but he's like taking that responsibility, and he's Spider-Man. And I think it's again taking this really classic iconic Spider-Man moment, tweaking it to be about something different, but also still being very quintessential Spider-Man.
No, that's a really good analysis. I mean, he still has sufficient personal motivation for this, even if it's not like, my loved one is going to die if I don't get out of here and go take care of that. And in the original source material, like we talked about in the comic show last night, that is also him still cleaning up his own mess in his mind, where like he feels responsible for her getting that way, and so he's going and trying to solve that problem and save her. And this does still have a bit of that.
But the thing that he's got to get out of here to stop is just Vulture's going to rob something. Like,
Yeah,
he doesn't really need to. Like, the worst that will happen is the Vulture will take that, and somebody else will probably get him, or he'll just walk away with money. Like, it's the reaction to it's not to the same degree, and it's not really
no,
personal
absolutely.
in that way. But obviously, he's going to like fully take responsibility, and obviously how we do the Steve Ditko split face thing is really cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Which we do kind of get in the first Raimi movie, but like it's not like fully split with how we rip his mask at the end.
I like the continuity of the retro reflective panels. That was the thing that came up in Iron Man 3. And then we actually see it happen here, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry, I was thinking about it because yeah, I guess you're right.
That's an idea that the kid in that has, and then Tony Stark like files it away. He's like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and then he's actually implementing it here. It's really cool.
Yeah. No, and I guess he uses it for Avengers as well with the helicarrier.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Okay, so we did
But
that
it would be
already.
the same.
But
But it would be the same tech though. Like that is so cool.
yeah,
This came out the same year as Wonder Woman, and this is the one with the invisible jet, which is something everyone made fun of.
that's so funny. But yeah, you're right. It's not personal in the sense that like again he's got like a loved one that's going to die and the stakes are the same, but it is personal in he's still cleaning up a mess in the sense that importantly who he's going to rob is the mentor that Spider-Man looks up to and respects. And I don't know. I think that's part of it. Where like he's and that's why. And I don't know that it had to go this far, but that's why you have the voiceover with him with Tony saying, if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it," because Peter's like, "Oh, I'm finally getting that now. He was right about that, and he's the one that's about to get ripped off because of this guy." And it is just a cool way to converge the subplots.
Yeah, for sure.
And that could have been a lot more convenient and contrived than it is. And I actually think it works.
Well, that voiceover is also some of that like talking head stuff that they also did a lot in
Doing the
Lee
comics,
Ditko.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
we
yeah,
just didn't have his floating head. We needed his floating head.
That's part of the revenge thing that I was talking about. That like the Vulture is going after this plane, obviously because that's where all these great artifacts are that he can use. But it's like in his mind poetic justice that it's Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And I like the bit where he sees the Iron Man mask and throws it away. Like it's really interesting, and I actually think that there's some good comedy that's played for this with him. That the hero he hates the most is Iron Man, but he's so, as Yelena says in the new one, small potatoes, that Iron Man doesn't even know about him. Like, he doesn't even know he exists. And so in his mind,
like
that should be his arch nemesis, but the stupid kid keeps getting in his way. And I like how much of a nuisance he is to him, and how it's played as just an irritation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some good comedy mind from that.
No, that also feels very Spider-Man. Like he's just an irritation to these people. You know, he keeps getting in their way.
Which is both why Tony's right that he's not uh, as prepared for being a superhero and ready to be an Avenger and all of that, and the reason that he needs to stay on the ground because there's not enough heroes that care about all of that.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. This is the stuff I was talking about earlier, where like the Vulture can barely maneuver on this plane.
Yeah.
Spider-Man can only shoot webs if it's backwards. Like they're both just like so awkward and lumbering in this fight that it makes it feel really small, even though it is a pretty big climax.
But it's also fun because the stakes are just the bad guy's gonna get all these artifacts.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you think about it, the implications of that are scary. Like he could get way too powerful with all of the stuff that's in there. And it sounds like there might even be like kind of magical artifacts and stuff. So like who knows what he'll be able to do with some of that. So it could turn into a much larger enterprise that would lead to a much bigger climax for some other story if it succeeded, of course. And so like there are larger stakes and larger implications.
Mm-hmm. You just get more criminals with like advanced tech running around.
I also want to note that a big epic climax is not a bad thing on like on the face of it on its own. It's just we've all kind of learned to want them to be smaller because we got tired of the same thing over and over again and of every superhero movie having to try to top the last one and how gigantic it is. But I think we should be careful not to fall in the trap of if it's smaller, it's automatically good.
No, and I agree. And I actually really like the climax of Far From Home.
I do
and
too.
we'll get there when we get there. But I really like all the stuff with him and the robots and Mysterio. All that stuff's really cool.
Yeah.
I wish they made his box of scraps guy Smythe, because you're probably not going to do Spider Slayers.
Yeah.
So like, just have
that's a
that
good
little
point.
connection because he's fighting all the robots at the end. But it's whatever.
I do love that they did box the scraps guy. That was a really neat idea.
He's basically Tinkerer in this.
Yeah, who they should have continued to use, but
yeah. It's the theme of the night.
Yeah. I remember when the list came down for all of the villains that were going to be in this, and even I was looking at it going, I don't know how you cram all that in. Like, how does all of that work? And it feels like such a different era now, because now these things come out and it's almost like that we're out of villains. And obviously we're not, but that's just kind of what it feels like. Like, not to spoil things, but like, especially with the new one, where it's like that was the villain you went with, and it's we're out of villains now. It's weird. So it's just odd that this franchise started with we've got like 6,
and most of them are set up to nothing.
Yeah, no, it's really sad.
Thank you, Marvel and Sony. No, and this is a cool subversion of what we did, at least in the Raimi movies with the villains. Like, this is right out of those.
Yeah,
where it's like his
we don't actually
about to kill him,
and
but then we don't actually go there.
And he's trying to save him, which is, of course, classic Spider-Man, and just where his morality in his heart would be. But I also like that there is, like, he would do this probably no matter who it was. But it's important to note that the scariest thing that or at least like this big surprise scary thing that happened to him earlier in the night. He opens the door and it's the Vulture is the reason that this is also a personal thing. Is like that is Liz's dad. Like,
no, I like the bit where he's like, I got to fight my girlfriend's dad. That also feels very teenagery, where it's like,
yeah,
it's not really your girlfriend, but like,
that's true.
You definitely see a kid saying that.
Well, that in
Napoleon Dynamite does that kind
that
of thing
in his mind, he's turning the supervillain stuff into teenage drama.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed
No,
with the way
exactly.
those things managed to be married in this. That was a
Yeah,
terrible
I agree.
sentence. Senior Sticks, $2 super chat. Aunt May is Italian. Is this wrong or odd?
No, I mean, I don't know. She can be Italian. That's fine.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. But I
Just being
understand.
Italian in general is odd, but
I guess I understand people wanting things to be just exactly like they are out of comics, but like we're already uh, like casting people with different ethnicities, and like we made her a lot younger, and
yeah, I just don't have like an opinion on stuff like that. Like, same with you'll hear people talk about how Peter's kind of Jewish coded, and like, I'm fine if he is, if he's not.
that's
Like, I
over
don't
my
know. Like, I
head.
don't.
I never
Yeah,
thought of
like I
that.
don't really care. Like, you can do them kind of anyway. So him being a little Italian, or I guess Aunt May being a little Italian because they're not blood related, is fine.
Yeah, he really does not know how to handle this situation. This is the bit that is most right out of the early Stan Lee comics to me. Where like her dad just got thrown in jail, and he walks up, I'm really sorry, and she's like, I've not had one thought about you in the last 48 hours. Leave me alone.
I'm a jerk now. Get away from me. Betty, Gwen Stacy. I mean Betty.
That's hilarious. I like that somehow Betty looks like the spitting image of the comic character, but 15.
Well, she looks like Betty looks like the spitting image of Gwen Stacy. It's very strange.
Well, I guess that's true. She's usually no, I'm right. She's usually a brunette, isn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and no, you're right because
No,
everybody
I
was.
really like
I
that
forgot.
actress.
Everybody was. I like her too, but everybody was. No, I wasn't thinking about that. Right? Everybody was laughing about that when the movie came out, where they were like, why does she look like Gwen Stacy?" And she's even got that headband.
No, and I like that actress a lot.
Yeah, I
She's
forgot
the
about that.
daughter from The Nice Guys. She's great.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yep. I also call because
I
I don't know
saw
if you
that
remember this,
once.
Cap. No Way Home released an extended cut in the theaters, and most of what they added is scenes with Betty. So I just call it the Betty cut.
That's awesome. How do you feel about how little screen time MJ gets versus how major she is after this?
So I was gonna say that before. I really like that this movie is a throwaway love interest.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. So I really like how all that's handled. The MJ thing is straight up just the Robin John Blake reveal. I don't really care for that,
I don't
but
either.
but no, I really like that we have like his actual love interest just kind of buried in the background, and here's the one that he's going after. That feels like we're doing a Spider-Man thing because he kind of bounces around, especially early on, and also, I lost my point.
Oh no, you're pulling a me.
Oh, also, it's a very teenager thing where it's like this girl is like what I'm obsessed about, and then it's kind of nothing.
Yeah, laser focused. And there's a long
Yeah,
history of that in the Spider-Man comics, of course.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's really cool.
I was really surprised that they even thought to use Liz, even if she doesn't have the same last name.
They're running out. They're like, okay, we can either use Liz or Betty or Deb Whitman.
Yeah.
Because they were going to do Felicia Hardy here.
Oh, really?
I don't think you would do that.
Oh,
first.
I thought you said
like,
they talked about it. And I was like, I never heard that.
Oh, no, I said like you wouldn't do that.
Oh, I see.
Here.
Yeah. Well, and don't make Felicia a high school kid.
Yeah. You could have. Okay, actually, no, you couldn't have. I was going to say you could have done the Ultimate Spider-Man thing, but you can't because you're not reading his dialogue. You can very obviously tell he's a teenager when he's in costume.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really have that black cat thing.
If you did, we'd have to really rethink how we do his voice in the suit because we make a lot of jokes about how he just sounds like a little kid in the suit.
No,
especially
and I love
with the
that.
Prowler.
I know what a girl sounds like. I'm not a girl. I'm a boy.
I
I'm a
mean, I'm
man.
man. I'm a man. I'm not a girl. Yeah, it's great. That whole exchange is really funny.
That whole scene's really funny. Yeah. Peter, I'm about to offer you the worst looking suit ever. So you're gonna refuse it for this film, but then wear it through most of the next two.
So I'm crazy. I don't have that. I don't mind the look of that suit. I wouldn't want it to be like a main Spider-Man suit, but I don't personally hate it. I know I'm supposed to, but I don't. So I don't know, deal with it. But
It's so cluttered. I don't know. Just why doesn't it just look like the Iron Spider suit? Like I don't even love that suit, but like it'd be better.
yeah, isn't that suit kind of orange?
No, it's red and gold.
I wish I always remember with the covers of that suit thinking it looked kind of orange.
And that's fair. No, especially at this point, like this his main suit here was my favorite of the live action Spider-Man suits. It's probably beaten by Brand New Day at this point, but immediately getting this, I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't wear that.
I so another reason I that this and I haven't talked about this as much as I was going to, but that this feels like it's connected real hard to the first Iron Man to me, and that they're kind of companion pieces. Is it ends in sort of a similar place, but then reverses stuff. So it ends with uh, a supposed press conference that doesn't happen, and then he unlike Tony Stark, of course, keeps his secret identity and does not say, I'm Spider Man, but then Aunt May walks in and figures it out anyway. So it's like that ending, but not that ending.
Yeah. And the first two of these also both end with what the because the first two are on like the same formula, but we never did that again.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We've got lots more super chats.
Yeah.
Brandon Keta, $5 super chat. That's how I feel about Batman. I don't think we've gotten the definitive Batman on screen yet. I'm hoping they do it with Brave and the Bold.
And that's fair too.
Yeah, I mean, these, like I said earlier, these characters that have been around forever, we, a lot of us have, uh, like different definitive versions of them in our
There's,
heads. Now, I think
yeah.
Batman is a more versatile character than Spider-Man. I've always said that's why I don't like the Spider-Verse thing. I feel like, you know, a Batverse makes sense in a way in a way a Spider-Verse does not. Because Batman can be like all things to all people. He can be super campy. He can be super dark. I feel like Spider-Man is a more specific thing and is less malleable. Um, and so I understand that more than I do with I understand that with Batman, if you don't feel like you've seen like the definitive version on screen more than I do with Spider-Man. But with but also we've had lots of different iterations of that now as well. I just feel like some are more valid than others more often than with Batman. And her line
This is
delivery here is
super.
great.
Yeah, it's great. This is super self-indulgent.
Yeah.
But when Civil War came out, I was like, oh, that's like a fun writing experiment. I'm gonna write a pitch for a Netflix Spider-Man show. And my pitch also had that same moment where he walks in the suit's in a bag after he lost it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I oddly predicted this in a way.
That is super self-indulgent. No, that's great.
Exactly. Then we're back to the Ramones, which is also only in these first two.
Senior Sticks, Fido Super Chat. Idea Ned gets amnesia, finds goblin gear, becomes a criminal, and then fights Spider Man. No need to explain why he Why or how he more fit as Hobgoblin? Well, I don't like the amnesia part of that.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. I like the idea that he shows up and he's just buff now with no explanation. Not that you like need one, but like, yeah.
I mean, we already made the whole world have amnesia about Peter Parker, which I really dislike, and it would be amusing if you were like, we're gonna have Ned in 4 movies. We never built up to that, so let's just knock him on the head, and then we can make him a villain.
Yeah, exactly.
Real life actual Jim
Everyone makes fun
Carrey.
of this, but like
I'm sorry.
Gwyneth Paltrow being so high in the credits is really funny.
Yeah, no, it really is.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
She's just recognizable, so you always have to do that, I guess. Real life actual Jim Carrey $2 super chat was M. What? Hold on, I'm trying to. Was M.I. if Aunt May a mistake? Many mocked this. Help
He's
me out.
talking about just Marissa Tomei, like young Aunt May. I think that's all he means, but it's
Oh, I
had
see.
like a typo.
I see.
So I don't think just as a take, I don't think it's a mistake, but I do think it's a mistake not doing more with her.
Yeah.
I've always said she should have been a parent liaison on the trip in Far From Home.
Yeah, of course.
And not doing that is a huge mistake.
One of the reasons that I find, and I know I said it's mostly because of where he starts, and then like obviously, yeah, like the power corrupts him, and he gets too big headed, which is kind of Peter Parker's whole character arc is he's getting too big of a head, and Tony Stark's gotta pull him back. But one of the reasons I find Vulture more sympathetic than the commenter we had earlier, Dan Schneider, that was arguing with me about it, and fair points. But part of it is he still does have a pretty solid like personal code of ethics.
Yeah, and not giving away Peter's identity at the end.
Yeah, I really like that. He's got a sense of honor about him, and he's not making stuff up when he says the reason he lets Peter live, you know, the speech he gives in the car is because he saved his daughter. And like he's there is an integrity to that character that he still retains even when he's like selling weapons to evil people and all of that. I can see how the logic of all of that tracks in his head.
Yeah, he's a believable character, as I think just the most important thing.
And again, I think he's still right about some things. He's just not right about how he's handling it.
Sure.
But again, that really resonates with me. This idea that, well, if Tony Stark can like break all the rules and do anything he wants to just because he's rich and powerful, well, I have figured out a way to be powerful. Why can't I do that too? Like, why should the rules apply to thee but not me, or me but not thee?
It's also funny because that scene's just like, by the way, we're gonna do the Sinister Six, and we never did.
Yeah, we're still teasing it, and
we're still teasing it.
Tease with the
It's
amazing
Spider-Man's
teasing it here.
Mr. Sinister.
That is true. That's exactly what it is. Except that one's weirder because within the same continuity, we kept teasing it in different ways. It was.
And it was supposed to pay off as like the villain of the sequel to New Mutants. Like.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we have an after credits about something related to Mr. Sinister or Essex in like 3 times in a row. It's at least 2, if not 3. We just keep doing it.
Oh yeah, no, it pops up a ton.
But anyway, that after credits, the first time I saw this, I assumed that was teasing us for more Vulture eventually, and that's part of why we leave him alive. Going back to it, later, it doesn't even really watch like it promises that. it's
I
really
always thought
just
it felt like we're
get,
gonna do the Sinister Six, and there's gonna be a really weird dynamic where the Vulture knows who Spider-Man is, and like how does he then tie into what the other villains are, and like that's gonna be his moral dilemma. That
yeah.
was always how it played to me.
But what I'm saying is, that certainly could have gone either way. Like, obviously, I'm sure they were at the time thinking like, let's leave a door open for if we ever want to bring him back. But watching it, especially just like in the context of this movie now, I and of course, the hindsight, they never ended up bringing him back except weirdly at the end of, what was it, Morbius or
The greatest
Creative?
after credits scene of all time, yeah, the
Yeah,
Morbius one.
bizarre. The way it watches now is, to me, is they're going, oh crap, we need to get ahead of the criticism that, well, Vulture's probably just going to go tell everybody who Spider-Man is. Like it's like they need to kind of hit that as a coda, or people are going to wonder how Peter even keeps his secret identity. Like that's actually something they've got to smooth over at the end, which I had never thought of before.
Yeah, no, I guess that's true. Yeah, so it's like we're both doing that and setting up villain stuff for the future.
Mm-hmm. But that seems to be the primary motivator for it. Is
Yeah, especially at this point.
we
Yeah.
need an explanation. Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. I really hated Alex Jones Jameson. I've argued with people who don't see what the big deal is. Alex Jones is not Jameson in any way. Modern slob.
Yeah, no, I mean, I very much hate Alex Jones Jameson. It's I don't know. I could go on for like an hour about that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it, except just to. I
And
mean,
we've
since
talked about it a lot
since he
too.
left the
But
super
like,
chat,
yeah,
I'll
it's
just,
not J. Jonah Jameson.
yeah. Well, and I'll just say this: it's like, it's just there to like surprise everybody and be, oh look, we've got Jameson back, and it's the actor you love, and then I you don't know if they're ever going to do anything with it, and so far they have not. But
Well, I think it
it's,
just means like in general, because that starts with Insomniac, where it's like just Jameson's Alex Jones now.
yeah.
So I think like yeah, I think he's just talking about like just in general the modern trend.
But what I was trying to say is, it just, in that movie, I like just forgetting the video game or whatever. It feels like almost this kind of like cynical thing, where it's like we've got to do a uh sort of like social satire thing at the same time as bringing this actor back, so that everybody will go like, oh yeah, we agree with that, that's terrible and hilarious all at the same time. Like there's something sort of cynical about it to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think it's especially awkward moving forward because then in No Way Home that you bring all these actors back, but he's the only one that's playing an MCU version. It's like it's weird.
Yeah, that whole thing is also strange. I Because there are no rules for that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb. No Way Home's a dumb movie.
Oh, I kind of forgot about the Captain America after credits.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, all of his bits are really fun, and they don't overdo that.
The Blu-ray has a special feature that just gives you all of these in succession.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And it was a way for Chris Evans to play uh, like Captain America for nothing but comedy, which is sort of interesting because he starts so much as a comedic actor. So like it's the closest to his using the comedy chops that he did in Fantastic Four with Captain America.
Hmm. Sorry, I just laughed at Spider-Man will return. Sony be moved.
Oh my
For like a
god,
second,
yeah.
they were all like on the screen at the same time.
Sony be moved. Well, that's something I wanted to.
Spider-Man will return. Sony be
That's something I want
moved.
to talk about. We'll hit the rest of these super chats and then get to um, ratings. But I every time anybody blames Marvel and Disney for things they don't like about these movies, somebody always invariably comes in and goes, "Well, Sony makes these. You have to put all of the blame at Sony." There's always that like, well, actually, guy, well, actually, it's Sony. Sony technically has, like I said earlier, like final creative, like yay or nay on stuff, but like. Especially with after this first one with the sequels, like, and I read about this today. I Marvel is really making all the initial creative decisions. Like these still are full on MCU movies. And I think it's weird the way people talk about them where it's like they're not MCU movies. Well, no, they are though.
And we, at the end of the day, like we don't know what comes from who, what like they're not able to use, like where that comes from. Like
Yes.
obviously there's stuff where like Sony has to approve it, but like I don't know, we're not in those negotiating rooms. Like
Yeah. But as far as the way
at the
they're
end of the day,
written and made, like they're written as MCU movies. And then Sony just signs
Mhm.
off on stuff.
Yeah, and I always thought it was like they both kind of have to agree to things, and like they both have to like they're both kind of in that initial groundwork stage. Like
Yeah,
I
maybe
said,
so.
I forget.
But
Who knows?
I don't know, it's just the way the you know the way like really both Feige and Pascal talk about it is like more of the like I'm sure there's negotiations at the start or whatever, but like the actual writing of the thing, the script stage and all of that, it seems to be more Marvel than people like to give it credit for.
Yeah, I mean, like it is just hard to say, and I think especially when it began, there was a lot more of okay, anything weird is Sony, anything that works is Marvel,
Yeah.
because that's kind of just how we felt in the moment. But like at this point, like I don't know. Like they each have their own issues. Like I don't know who's driving what. Like
Well, and even like I think they get progressively worse until the last one, and I to me it's kind of but even with that, like there's nothing on the same level of bizarre in Far From Home or even No Way Home as the Sony villain movies. Like none of that flavor is wending its way into this stuff. And they
mhm.
really doubled
Yeah.
down on that on that tone and that
Mhm.
flavor.
No, exactly. But like that also becomes the point of like Marvel is there to kind of check that. So it's like, are they still suggesting things? Like probably. I don't know.
They're
Who
probably
knows?
suggesting things, but they're probably not putting pen to paper, is what I'm saying.
Well, and we did specifically just carry over those two writers that my theory was were the Marvel writers, whereas it started with the Sony guys that did the
Yeah,
Vacation reboot. So,
yes. Imagine what that would have been.
oh god,
He's like, I don't want to
the
imagine.
Vacation yeah, the Vacation reboot's like the worst thing ever, and is the start of of the chain of improv Hemsworth.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, he's only in it a little bit, but it's like that's he does that, and he does Ghostbusters, where his role's a little bigger, and he does Ragnarok, where now he's the lead like that. Yeah, it's a whole chain.
And then the fever pitch for me is the Men in Black he made. Oh my god,
I forgot that even existed.
it was made just like that. A mini blow of $10 super chat. A
Of
lazy
course.
criticism of the amazing movie is that Peter acts like a stalker. I don't hear that for this film. So how is Peter staring at Liz in her bikini in the dead of night from the rooftops any different?
The big thing is that in Amazing, his wallpaper on his computer, while he's not even speaking to Gwen, is Gwen. Like that is inherently creepy. And he's like following her around in Amazing too. Like all that stuff's real weird
Yeah.
here, and it's 100%. It's a line you got to walk. So like if it falls on creepy for you, I get it.
Yeah.
But like I think here it's more believable of just yeah, teenagers do kind of pine for people when they have a crush on someone, and it depends on how you walk it.
Yep.
And I just think Amazing doesn't walk it very well at all, whereas I think this does.
Well, and I don't mean to make too much of an excuse with this, but like there's a reason that you have so much of this in love stories because it's a visual medium. So you want to demonstrate how much your protagonist cares about and is pining away for the person he doesn't think he'll ever be with. And like how do you visualize that without, and I don't mean that like he has to be a flat out stalker to visualize it. I just mean I the easiest way to make that clear to an audience and to make us at, at least ostensibly sympathize with him is to show, I just mean like proverbial him and her, whoever the characters are, him standing in a place, seeing her where she's not noticing, I like looking at her and clearly thinking this is something I will never have.
Yeah,
Now, does she have
I
to be in
also
her
think
underwear? I get it,
well,
but
she's
that's
in
what.
the pool, but yeah,
But that's why
it's
I
not a
just
gimmick.
again I just mean in
Just
anything
in general, yeah.
we do this a lot with she's undressing or you know what I mean. So like
And
does
we
it
get that
have to
moment with and Raimi
does
too.
it have to be that? I get that, but then again, it's the easiest way to visualize not just the male protagonist is pining away for for a girl, but also like he's a teenager, he's just gone through puberty, he's got his natural urges. Like that's how you present those things without us having to talk about them.
Yeah, I also think this movie is that good moment too, where he's naming the suit, and he's like, "I'll
Yeah,
name it Liz." Oh wait, no, that's weird. That's creepy.
that's creepy. I
I
shouldn't
need
do
to
that.
come up with a different name. Yeah,
That that's how far away 2017 feels to me, Austin, is that's before I like it had probably already started, but that's before the idea of like the Karen really took off. I don't know if this movie is made in like 2019 or 2020. She's named Karen.
that's funny. Yeah, no, it would have been before that really took off.
Like that's how long ago this feels. I feel bad for anyone I've ever known named Karen.
I know a Karen that's a manager. That's beautiful.
Dan Schneider, $5 super chat. For better or worse, they gave us an Aunt May we could be attracted to. Were they wrong to do this? Did they sin? Once again, I don't think so. It also doesn't watch like it's because we've got to make every older character like really young and attractive. It just feels like they
Well,
were
Marissa Tomei is also like older. Like it's
older.
not like
Yeah,
she's young, young.
she was like 48 or 49 when she made this, I think.
I was gonna say like around
Or
50 is what I
around
would
50,
guess.
yeah, because the character anyway is 60 on the gravestone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would have guessed around 50. But I don't know. I just as a singular take, like I think it's fine. It is kind of funny that every Aunt May is like progressively getting younger
Yes,
every time we reboot.
because she's a little younger and amazing, but she still looks quite a bit older than
Yeah. So next reboot,
Marissa
she'll be in the high
Tomei.
school.
And that just won't make any sense. It'll be like, wow, your sister was the same age as your kid.
Yeah. Ah, Aunt May, we got class. Come on.
I'm gonna be late for school.
Eventually, Aunt May will be younger than Peter.
So I know I like you're not a big fan of No Way Home. I'm not either. I know you like Far From Home a little bit better than I do. How do you feel overall just about like Watts as a director? Like do you think there's a better director for this material and it works despite him, or do you think he's solid?
So I think he's really solid in this movie, and then I think he kind of loses it a little more with each movie.
Hmm.
And No Way Home's
That's
also awkward because it's
what I
like
think too.
the most COVID movie to ever COVID. Where like you can tell nobody is on the same set because they're having to deal with all of those regulations. So it's like that also is part of why it looks so ugly. Whereas someone like a Matt Reeves with the Batman can hide some of that because he's a better director. But I
Hmm.
mean, I don't know. Like, could you have gotten a better director? Like, sure. I think I think he does a good job here though. And like I said, I think he does a fine job in Far From Home, but it's not like amazing.
Well, one of the reasons that I overall like this movie more than the other two franchises is I've always said Raimi really knew what to do with the action side and wasn't as good at the relationship and teenager stuff. And then
I think he needed better writers.
sure, but anyway, but let me just break this down. And then Webb had kind of the flip of that, and then this guy was able to marry it in a way that it hadn't been really been married before. Was how I always felt about it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like
Um,
I mean, I think he does like a fine enough job. Like most of the MCU films don't have like super strong direction, but like they're fine. It kind of falls into that.
YouTube intentionally ruins lives. We also know Brand New Day was originally Null Venom, Toby, and Andrew until Holland essentially said, "I'm not returning unless this movie has a soul." I've never heard that.
He means Brand New Day, not
That's what I
No Way
said.
Home. Oh, sorry, I think you said No Way Home. Sorry, my
Well, he
bad.
wrote Brand New Day. If I somehow read it as No Way Home, I don't know. I don't know why I did that,
No, you
but
probably did. I probably had a brain fart. I have heard that. I don't know if that's true. Like if that's just rumor.
yeah, I've never heard that.
Because I've also heard Amy Pascal say that it was always supposed to be street level, but is that just her saying things? I don't know. It's hard to say.
There's so much we'll never know. I also I don't think that's implausible either. I mean, like, if there was a Sony leak and it came out that was a memo and they were gonna do that, I would not be surprised.
I want to see that email chain because some of the best stuff in the Sony leaks are the Kevin Feige dealing with Sony through Amazing 2. So I want to see some of that stuff where it's like, hey, Kevin, how do you feel about Null being the main villain?
Super Billy says it is true. Yeah, I don't know what the for sure confirmation is. Maybe you guys know something I don't.
Yeah. No, exactly. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise
Again,
me.
it wouldn't surprise me at all. Well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sony didn't want to try to salvage some of what they did with those villain movies, even if they've decided they're not going to make them anymore.
Mhm.
Just to
Yeah, and I
in their
think Holland
minds,
has talked about that.
yeah, just in their minds to like kind of save face, or because they're maybe kind of embarrassed about how all of that went, and to feel like they have you know still ownership over this whole property.
Yeah, exactly.
Because man, the big producers at Sony act like they really don't understand why those movies didn't resonate and why people didn't like them.
Mhm.
Like they just seem so clueless and out of touch. It's really interesting.
To be fair, the head of Sony now is Tom Rothman, who was the guy
Yeah.
behind that produced X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they are kind of in the same league, same ballpark.
They don't know what a movie with a soul looks like.
Mhm. No, exactly.
And I'm gonna piss off somebody when I say this, but they would get along so well with Zack Snyder.
I want to see him helm the Sony universe. That sounds great. Do that. That
Okay,
sounds great.
let's go ahead and read many reviews from our audience. And once again, if you would like to do these in the future, it's the $5 tier on Patreon. Uh, I will refresh Patreon here
Yeah,
and
I've
make sure I
got a
haven't gotten any new
couple
ones.
here.
Austin, I've got 5.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, you start, sir.
Yeah, I know we got a bunch. Okay,
It's a big movie,
sorry. Yeah,
and
exactly.
everybody's on a Spider-Man
Uh,
high right now.
yeah. The Congregator, not my ideal Spider-Man movie, but a fitting intro bringing him into the MCU. Great high school story and pushes Peter to being the hero we know to be. 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, because that's our rating system.
Yeah.
Joe says, I enjoyed this a lot when it first came out, but it's hard to go back to any of the MCU Spider Man appearances without seeing how artistically compromised they all are. Still, I like the casting, especially Keaton, who changed my mind about Vulture never being a threatening antagonist. It's definitely his second best performance as a bird themed super character hero. I was going to say that earlier, that one of the things I love about this casting is that it's 3 years after Birdman and that he plays a Birdman, and that is fantastic.
Yeah. No, that is really cool.
It almost didn't happen.
Mhm.
He was having scheduling conflicts with the founder, and somehow his schedule changed around or opened up, and at the last minute he was able to take the role. But like, they wrote it for him, or they wrote it with him in mind, thinking he might not take it, but they were hoping he would, and he actually agreed to do it. And then the founder got complicated, and he was like, "Okay, I don't think I can do this anymore." And they offered it to Leguizamo, who took it, and it sounds like was like right up to signing a contract. Like, and maybe he did. I'm not sure, but they had to when Keaton opened back up, they had to sheepishly go ask him if he would be willing to drop out of the role. Like, they had given it to him.
Oh, crazy. No, I remember this at the time because it was like I think the thing that they said was like, Keaton doesn't want to sign on for a bunch of movies, and I was like, oh, I feel like he's going to be playing MCU Norman. That'd be really interesting. Uh, he could maybe be cool for that, and then
That
obviously
would have
it
been
turned
good.
out to be Vulture. Yeah, and then at the time I was like, oh, the Vulture, what?
Which is interesting because that would have been the completely opposite character.
Yeah.
Because he went, you thought he was going to play a billionaire, and he went to the poster child of blue collar worker that is fighting against the establishment.
Yeah, and then he'd be like, I'm the Goblin who's green, babe. Come on.
He should have played both. He should have been Norman Osborn and Adrian Toomes.
We adapt that weird Sandman thing from Burns Chapter 1, where it's like Norman and Sandman are cousins because they have the same hair, but it's like the Vulture and Norman are twins. It's just they can both be Keaton.
That's the after credit scene where this whole movie has been blue collar worker raging against the establishment, and then the after credit scene is the exact same actor is sitting in a penthouse, like uh, like drinking whiskey. Like, what is happening? Oh, it's the twin of Adrian Toomes. He's Norman Osborn.
They don't even have the same last name.
No, they'll just play it like all the kids. Just none of the adults have last names either.
Just Norman and
And
Adrian.
Adrian. Yep.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go. Now we're talking.
Let's keep going with these.
The Captain Coon. Homecoming was my favorite Spider-Man movie until Brand New Day. He's a kid trying his best and to prove to people around him he can handle things, but will call for help when he needs it. Absolutely loved Vulture, and I'm so happy they started using other villains as henchmen for the main villain. Only thing is that I'm sad they never brought back Tyne Daly as the head of Damage Control because she looks exactly like the comic character.
Oh, okay.
And no rating, but I assume high. because
Yeah,
he said it's his second favorite Spider-Man movie.
probably a superhero based on what he said. Maybe
Probably,
maybe a
I'm thinking
legend.
like Nemesis. Yeah.
I no, I don't know if I've seen that character before. Like I think I've read the original Damage Control mini, but it's been a long time, so I don't remember the characters in it. But
Yeah.
on this last viewing in preparation for this, I had the thought that I wish they'd brought her back in Brand New Day.
Do you remember when she was cast and everyone thought she was going to be a gender bent Jameson?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that was a big theory at the time when she was cast. People were like, "Oh my god, like she has to be Jameson." And you go to see the movie, and it's like, "Oh, she's the head of Damage Control."
I mean, J. Jane Jameson. Like, what would her name have been?
They just wouldn't say it. It's Jay.
Well, what's better, a gender bended one or none at all, or a
Gender bent.
cameo where he's Alex Jones?
It'll just be the MJ thing where she's got a completely different name, but it still forms JJJ.
And she reveals it right at the end, and it's really cringeworthy.
You know, editor of the Daily Bugle, you should really go by what we all call you around here, JJJ.
Mutale, if the movie had great action sequences like the Raimi films and Uncle Ben was referenced, I would love this film. Despite that Tom Holland is a great Peter Parker and Spider-Man, Michael Keaton is amazing as Vulture, and the high school vibe is so fun, making the movie a good movie overall. Hero.
Oh, very good.
So it sounds like
Uh,
he just thinks the set pieces aren't exciting enough. That drops it down
yeah,
a little
that's
bit.
fair. I think they're pretty good. They're not like huge, but like I think they're cool.
I can see that criticism. It's not where the
Yeah,
focus is, and so
same.
I'm not real concerned with it while I'm
I
watching
just
it.
like how small it is, small they
Yeah.
are. Like my big thing that I get out of them is I like how Spider-Man's so out of his element, and the Vulture is too when we get there. That's the stuff that I really like about it, where it's not super flashy action, but I think it's well done. Subject 879, favorite Spider-Man movie. I really this movie captures the spirit of the early comics, and Holland is great in the role. Vulture is one of the best villains in the MCU. Rating superhero.
Thanks, John. Joshua Davis, this was the first time I was older than the character was on screen, and it was the first time I really had the notion that the character wasn't being made for me anymore. Peter Parker is supposed to rub against authority figures such as Jameson the Police or older heroes such as the Fantastic Four, and this eager to please and constantly peppy take from Holland feels more like he could be any teenage superhero. It has always felt superfluous and throwaway to me, but the climax does a lot to save it, and so I can't really justify a villain rating, so it's a hero. What do you think of that?
The that he's too peppy.
Just the idea that he's too peppy and the idea that he's not like clashing with authority figures.
I mean, he is though. Like that is a thing throughout the movie where he's like, these people don't respect me, and like whatnot. Like he is still clashing against authority figures. He does have a like,
Yeah, that is
I want to be bigger
that
than
is
I
the
am, but like
arc.
he is
I'm
still,
trying. Well, and
yeah.
also I'm trying to prove myself worthy, and like, but even in doing that, he's also not like what's the word I'm looking for? He's also not deferring to Tony Stark. Like he wants to impress Tony Stark, but in a way he's also like I know better than him because he's obviously being deceptive. He is shutting down the tracer. He is setting up the suit so that it takes off the training wheels protocol. I
He gets detention for being like, high school is so beneath me. Like, no, like I don't know. I think he is clashing
Well,
against stuff.
that's why
Like,
he gets detention, but that's not exactly like they don't know he's Spider-Man. I mean, like he's not just not showing up to class because he doesn't feel like showing up to class.
no, but that is still part of just that. I'm so beyond this. I'm talking about what you were adding on to saying, like where he's just he does have like I'm bigger than my britches thing, and that's part of that.
that just doesn't seem railing against authority as much.
I mean, it is to a degree. Like he gets in trouble with the authority of his school because of that. Like maybe we don't focus on it enough, but like that is still what that is.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And then he just walks out of detention because he doesn't
But
care.
but the way what Joshua Davis is saying reads is it's like an attitude thing he's missing.
Hmm.
It's
No,
like
and
I
that's
can
fair. And like
kind of
I
see
don't
his
think we've
point with it.
ever. Yeah, no, and I think this goes with both this and Raimi to some degree. Is that we never really got the like kind of darkness that's in the Ditko one.
Yeah.
So like I do think that's a fair argument. I don't think I would go as far.
No, I agree with you. Like I see where he's coming from. I did not come to it myself, so like I would have to spend some time with that idea with the material. I I don't know, this particular version, again, just forget ignoring what they actually made, I could certainly see some of that coming later. You know what I mean? Where he's so like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Also keep in mind he starts at a really weird place. And I don't mean
Mm.
to keep repeating myself. Obviously, again, we don't really know how exactly his origin goes. You can make guesses, you think you do, and then it gets really
They
confusing.
change their mind.
Yeah, yeah. But I he he starts with Tony Stark coming to him, putting him in a really crazy situation where suddenly he's both fighting with and fighting against like all these superheroes he knows, and that's going to immediately give you a big head.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
just
definitely.
the situation is so different from what it is in those early Lee Ditko books too. Where like
Mhm.
yeah, he's in those he's trying to join these superhero teams, but he doesn't get put on the board by a superhero like that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, like they are going off different takes. Absolutely. I think it's me next,
Yes, sir.
right? Yeah. Doolittle. A real comfort movie for me. I consider it a classic for the MCU canon. Just a great coming of age movie. It's almost famous if it was a superhero movie. It's great. I put it on often because it's great company. It's a friend when I don't have any friends. Rating superhero.
Well, that was depressing. I hope you get some friends.
I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from. Like, this is a comfort movie for me too. I've seen this like a million times, so
Absolutely. I'm just sorry
I
that you
get
don't
it.
have friends.
Friends are lame when you can have Spider-Man.
Tobin Bellpones. Where it's lacking in style and filmic language, it makes up for in charm, performance, and simple storytelling. This isn't the best Spider Man movie, but it's still far from the middling trenches of the amazing films, and a great start to Tom Holland's wonderfully consistent run as Peter Parker. He is at least the best Spider Man actor we've had, pardon me, so far, and a major reason why these movies work so well for people rating Hero. I wonder what he would
Yeah,
say
for sure.
is the best Spider Man movie. I'm gonna guess it's Raimi 1 or 2. Probably 2.
I mean, it could be Spider-Verse.
Oh, it could be, sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it could be any of those. Chewbacca's Lover, beyond overrated. MCU
Oh, wow.
Spider-Man is my least favorite version of Spider-Man, but this movie is decent, even though it does a lot of stuff I don't care for. A very soft hero. Not to uh, review ratings, but I don't know, man. You didn't even put a hyphen in Spider-Man. I don't know if I can take it seriously.
Austin.
Obviously, I'm just
Do you
joking.
even know what Spider Man is? You didn't put the hyphen.
Yeah, screw you. The hyphen belongs, okay?
I sometimes wonder how history would be different if we left the hyphen in Batman.
It would be weird.
And if Spider Man didn't have it, what if we reversed that?
It's the darkest timeline. Batman kept his hyphen. Spider-Man never had one.
It's so funny because it's
It's all
pretty
one word, like Superman.
it's pretty arbitrary. If we'd kept Spider-Man, like if Spider-Man had become one word or had started that way, we wouldn't even think about it. You know,
Yeah.
like it's very arbitrary. We're just used to the hyphen, and so it's blasphemy to imagine it without it. But like why it's not a syllable count thing. Like Superman doesn't have a hyphen. It's the same number of syllables as Spider-Man.
Mhm. Well, Superman doesn't have a hyphen so that they could save on printing. But Marvel's making enough money by the time of Spider-Man that they could afford that extra letter.
That's great. It's not a letter, it would be a character, okay?
No, I consider hyphen a letter, Cap.
It's the hyphen is the 27th letter. It's punctuation. How's it a letter? Pronounce
Are you
it.
saying an exclamation mark is not a letter?
Yes,
Because I use it as one all the time.
He spells his name with it. Daniel Davis,
Exactly.
Spider-Man Homecoming is not my favorite Spider-Man movie. Like all the John Watts films, it's a little blandly shot, and I'm still a little iffy on the larger MCU components. Pardon me. It's getting late. Nevertheless, I still thoroughly enjoy it thanks to Tom Holland's performance, Michael Keaton as the Vulture, and all the high school stuff. Superhero.
Yeah, for sure. Super Billy. Sorry, he changed his name, so like it took a second where I'm like, I mean, his name's Super Sad. I don't know if he wants me to read that.
Yeah,
Instead,
where's the
Super
hyphen
Billy.
though?
I agree, Super
You know,
Billy.
Super Billy
get
should
a
have a
damn
hyphen. Like obviously. Like, does he have
He's
to
not
save
Spider
money?
Billy. Super Billy, still the best MCU Spider-Man film, and my second favorite Spider-Man film overall. A movie with a strongly written script, a well-realized character arc for its main protagonist that sublimely builds on his pitch-perfect introduction in Civil War. Distinguishes itself from previous iterations while still being quintessentially Spider Man, successfully balances drama and humor, has a bright color palette and a nice sense of fun energy, features great performances from a great cast, and affirms Tom Holland is the best actor ever to portray Peter Parker in live action. Rating superhero.
That's quite the contrast from the last review.
We're getting all over the web here.
Yeah, this is pretty polarizing for our audience. I think we're seeing more positive than negative, and a lot of, I mean, the movie's good. It's just not what I would have done. Like, I'm hearing a lot of that.
Yeah, no, and that's fair.
And that's totally fair. YouTube Intentionally Ruins Life says, I think Spider-Man being a longer word means the hyphen provides more visual balance. Batman is a nice, clean 6 letters. Okay, but again, Superman doesn't have a hyphen, and it's only 1 letter shorter.
So can I just say it? The hyphen is to Spider-Man's name what the trunks is to Superman's costume. You need it, otherwise it's too blue. It really breaks it up.
That's awesome. I think we should do a whole show on this.
I agree.
I think we should do a whole show on hyphen or not hyphen. That is the
And as
question.
someone with a hyphenated last name, I am fully hyphen.
Oh, that's true. You do have a hyphenated last name, you weirdo.
Exactly. So I respect the hyphen. God damn it.
Was that all your reviews?
Yes, yeah, that was all of them.
Okay, mine as well. Let's go ahead and go to our ratings now before we find out where we put them in our personal rankings. And I'm going to let you start, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Super Billy kind of hit mine. I adore this movie. Like I said, to me, it is Spider-Man's First Class. Sorry, it is getting late.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man's First Class, where again, is every choice exactly what you would want? Like, no, like I don't know, you could do it differently, but just as a movie, I think for me, it is just kind of the perfect Spider-Man movie. Again, the most just like ultimate, perfect, superior web of all of that would be somewhere between this and the first 2 Raimi movies.
And I agree with that.
But as of what's been actually made, like I do think this for me is it. And yeah, I will go one step above. I will give this a legend. I really like this movie.
Yeah, I've been hovering between superhero and legend, and I'm fighting myself on worrying too much about consistency because I think I'm still in the same place where this is the best live action Spider-Man movie, although I had really good watches of Raimi 1 and 2 the last time uh, I
Yeah.
I did that for our commentaries, and so it is not feeling as high above them as it used to for me. I'll say that. Because there was a period of time where 2 dropped real hard in my eyes, and I feel a lot better about it. Again, I've swung back around a little, pun intended. So, but if memory serves, I didn't give either of those a legend, and I'm still putting Homecoming at least slightly, if not even a little more slightly above them. Partly because the story resonates with me a lot more than either of those. And the mirroring and paralleling that we're doing with Vulture and Iron Man and with Vulture and Spider Man, and the way the kind of class system stuff is handled. Like I didn't put it in that parlance before, but just the I like like I said, we keep saying street level, but the idea that there are kind of two worlds in the Marvel universe, in three when you get the cosmic. But you've got like the world on the ground that the again elites are not really paying attention to, and then you've got the really powerful rich people that have these other problems, and they're just not paying attention to the people on the ground. And that's a whole aspect that was missing before we could put it in the MCU, and that really creates a lot of perspective and contrast. Uh, so I love the idea that I meant to say this earlier, so I'll just tack this in real quick, Austin. But I love the idea that let's see if I can articulate this late, that I Peter Parker or Spider-Man is necessary for the smaller, like on the ground crimes, for all the reasons that the Vulture is railing against the system, and then ironically he ends up being the big threat.
Yeah.
And I really like that about it. Um, but yeah, Holland is just the closest to like straight off the page, like early high school Spider-Man we've had. And then now that we're all the way, and this has nothing to do with my reading, I guess, but like now that we're 4 movies in and we're all the way to Brand New Day, and we've aged the character up as Holland has gotten older. He is fitting really nicely in my mind into that like early adulthood 80s and early 90s place. And so like this actor has managed to embody both of those eras for me. Like the early 60s Stan Lee thing, and kind of my favorite era, the like being married to Mary Jane era. And I know he's not doing that in the movie, but I'm just saying that's kind of like the age he's at now, and he's rocking that too. He's able to do both of those things. Which just even more solidifies for me that he's just the guy. Um, but yeah, I feel sort of remiss to not go legend if I'm still putting it above all of the other Spider-Man movies. Because if I don't, then no Spider-Man movie gets a legend, and that seems kind of weird. So I'm a little preoccupied by that. Um,
I just go with what your heart says. Who cares what the peasants will say?
well, because a lot of the criticisms that have come up tonight are well taken, but like none of them, uh, kill it for me or drop it down that far. Like for instance, I get the criticism that it's not a like real, uh, like stylized or like the most impressive visually, but I also like I don't mean to praise it for being plain. Like that's not really what I'm saying, but there's a down to earth quality about it that is just right for the material. And so like the fact that
And
it's
like I
not
said, I don't think it's badly directed. Like it's not
no,
flashy, but like I don't.
but I also
It's
don't think
not
that's right for
poorly
this
made.
material.
No,
You
I
know, like
agree.
the 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 protagonist is not flashy. The villain is not flashy. That's sort of the point. You know, so like
Mhm.
it needs to look real different from an Iron Man or an Avengers or something. Um,
Or even just from the Raimi movies, like you don't want it to feel as kind of uh, epic as those can.
yeah, yeah, it really shouldn't be an epic. You could get to an epic Spider-Man, but this first one shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go Legend. I feel wrong not doing that.
It has the Ramones song in it, so it's the Legend from me.
I'm glad it doesn't go crazy with needle drops either.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that we go to a lot of like older ones too, especially like considering it's a high school thing. Because we get the Rolling Stones at one point, we get the Ramones, obviously, but they've got like a loose connection to Spider-Man. It's just like a couple things like that. I think that song at the beginning with Vulture's Rolling Stones. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Rolling Stones fan. I could be wrong.
All right,
Or no, that's not Rolling
it's
Stones. What
not
the
Rolling
hell am I
Stones.
talking about? No, it's not. I don't like the Rolling Stones, so ignore me.
Dude, that's
But it
okay.
is an older song.
I said Betty in this movie looks like she does in the comics, and I don't know what the hell I was smoking when I said that. So
That's okay.
it's off my game night on the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project.
Sometimes somebody asks how you're doing, and you just say chess. Like that's life in a nutshell.
Put that on a t-shirt. Okay, let's find out where we ranked this movie. Austin, I currently have it, and if I'm going Legend, this is maybe a little low. Yeah, I might actually have to pop this up a little bit. Right now, I have
I
it
mean, I don't
sitting.
think you have to.
Say again?
So I mean, I don't think you have to. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like ratings and then like ranking, like it's very easy to not be consistent, but I don't like. I think it's fine to be inconsistent. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at the end of the day, personally.
Yeah, I mean, there may be slightly different exercises.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like
Well, I currently
exactly.
have it sitting, and this part of it is pretty appropriate. I have it sitting at 17. Oh my god,
Sorry.
you're right.
Yeah, just like came out of nowhere.
Uh, clearly he's more Carnage than he is villain. Venom. Clearly. Uh,
Exactly.
I have it currently at 17, right above Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
I have two Spider-Man movies sitting right next to each other, and hilariously, I have Puss in Boots sitting
Breaking
between
up the first two Raimi.
the Raimi movies.
It is kind of neat though that you have those Spider-Man movies so close to each other. Like they are of a similar quality for you.
Which I didn't used to have.
Cool.
I used to think Spider-Man 2 was this like gigantic leap above the first Spider-Man. And
Yeah,
I don't have that as much as I used to. But I've got Homecoming right under 89, and like that might change cuz just on a story level, I don't think 89 is in that league. Like I mean I probably like it more cuz it's 89, but like for
that's where it becomes arbitrary, right? Like 89's got a ton of issues, but like it's fun. Like I get why you love that movie. Like
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
But also, this show has
yeah,
always been more about narrative and story analysis than anything, so I try to keep that in mind with where I'm ranking it.
yeah.
But if
At the
that's
end of the day,
all
we're all
I'm,
people.
yeah, and there, there is an importance in style and translating the material from the comics visually and all of that. But like, if I was only thinking about narrative, 89 drops a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's sitting in probably the mid 30s or the 40s at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see where Austin's got it. I would imagine higher than me. Oh, quite a bit. Which maybe just suggests that you're even more of a Spider-Man fan than I am.
Yeah, and I've been in such a Spider-Man mood. Like I watched a ton of the '60s cartoon over the weekend on my vacation. I've been really
That's awesome.
enjoying all the stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, you've got it. So he's got it at 5. He has it above Mask of Zorro.
And I went back and forth. I could see that going under Mask of Zorro, but I think just because I was in such a Spider-Man mood, I was like, I'm going to put it over it this time. But I went back and forth a ton. So really, Mask of Zorro probably, I imagine, over time will overtake Homecoming.
And I certainly couldn't put it over Superman.
Yeah, I also was like, that feels weird. It's all arbitrary at the end of the day, Cap. I don't know.
Why are we wasting our time even doing this part?
I don't know. I don't know what my life is, Cap.
No, it's dude. I'm looking at my list, wanting to rearrange everything. Like, there's a lot of odd choices there right now.
Yeah, like, give me a freaking bone here.
Well, anyway, thanks everybody for watching. We sure appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the commentary. And we're going to reveal our next show. We'll be back next week with another movie that is related to something that is about to come out, and then we'll get back to Patreon polls. So never fear, we'll let you guys start helping us pick again pretty soon. But we've had some things that are kind of related to current events that we wanted to knock out, and we've had to take the last few weeks off. So, Austin, why don't you reveal the movie that we're doing next time? And I don't think you've ever seen it.
So that's what I was about to say. So I've never seen it, and
sorry.
also it's by the director of Mask of Zorro. So it's kind of funny that we had this back and forth with that movie.
Wait,
tonight.
Is that true?
It is. Yep.
I forgot about that.
It's Martin Campbell, yeah, who did Casino Royale, GoldenEye, and Mask of Zorro, and then this kind of tanked his career. We're doing Green Lantern, if you haven't figured it out from there.
I forgot that's who that was. That's madness.
Oh, Super Billy also just added and said he meant to say legendary, because he thought superhero was the highest.
Oh, sure.
So his actual rating is legendary. No, that's fine.
Legend is the highest.
Yep. Exactly. So yeah, we're doing Green Lantern. I am
scared,
very terrified.
I can't wait to do a commentary on that with you. That will be hilarious.
But the question is, Cap, because you've seen it, is it the best or the worst superhero film to feature Taika Waititi in a supporting role?
He's in that?
He is. He's Hal Jordan's friend.
See, I didn't know who that was back then.
Yeah.
It's not like I go back to that regularly.
Oh, you watch that like once a week. Don't lie to me.
Okay, so I gotta level with you guys real quick. I always read our top supporters on Patreon at the end of the show, and Patreon has changed around its interface. I can't find the list of our subscribers right now.
Oh, that's
the last
weird.
5 minutes I've been trying to find it. I don't know where they put it. Give me just another minute. I will try to figure this out, but it's not where it used to be. So anyway,
gotta love technology.
I will, if I can't find it, I'll find it before next show, of course, and get back to doing that. So apologies if I skip it this time. I can't find it right now while we're talking. Wait, here it is. What? Okay, that's weird. Now the menu it usually gives me has popped up on the side all of a sudden. I don't even know how I got that to appear. Okay. Strange. Anyway, well, I'm going to actually be able to do it. So once again, thanks to all of our patrons, and thanks to all the super chatters tonight too. Really appreciate all the support. We got to all the super chats, didn't we, Austin?
Yeah, I think so. I can do a quick look while you're reading that. To make sure.
It was slow but sure, but we got there finally.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Sorry, this is still not doing what it usually does. So I'm trying to set this up right. We can actually find all the top ones. What is happening?
Da-na-na-na-na,
Yes. Thanks for
na-na-na-na-na-na.
the background music. I appreciate that.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Thanks as always to all of our patrons, but especially our Patreon producers, including Jesse Surtees, One Reply, Joe, just Joe, Jajira Bag Studios, Victor, Super hyphen Billy. I added the hyphen for you. It's free. It's a free hyphen. You can have it. Elliot Slater, Dr. Hello, Goofster123, Matthew Brody, Abik Stark, Kareem Roberts, Dimitri J, Damon Begay, Adam March, Invisipig, Hot Soup, Michael Martin, Vic Blofeld, Kate Blaze, Alfonso Diaz, The Captain Coon, and Killer Moth returns. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate all the support, and thanks to all of our live viewers tonight for hanging out with us. Hope you had a good time. Austin, we agreed on
Yes.
Legend. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Yes, 'cause I love this movie, of course. I'd come and beat you up if you said otherwise.
I'm glad you're in Canada, but it doesn't matter because I gave it a Legend. I was so intimidated by Austin, I had to give it a Legend.
Yeah, exactly.
You so
I would throw a
intimidating.
bomb at you like Spider-Man 3 if you said otherwise.
You're intimidating like the Vulture. You've got your big camouflage knife wings.
And I can throw you in a lake with my powerful vulture abilities.
And you can awkwardly climb across a moving aircraft.
And I can also meet a vampire man in the desert after being transplanted into a different universe.
That is the oddest, most awkward, tacked on scene. And there's
I
some
wish they showed up at the end of
contenders.
Craven just to be like, just to add on to it.
Anyway, we're gonna get going. We'll see you again next time, folks. I can't wait to watch Austin deal with Green Lantern. It's gonna be wonderful.
Yeah, it's gonna make me crumble.
Bye, everybody.